And we are live. Welcome to the Rocket Launcher podcast. This is episode 18. I am your host, Supreme King, and I am always joined here by my co-host, and his name
It's your
is.
guy Omazus. What's up?
What's going on, man? How's everything? How was your week?
It was a good week, man. I'm just excited because it's spooky season. I'm one of those people. I get excited for the
It
October
is
month.
spooky
All that's
season. You know what's funny? Like up until this point, like I thought, or at least until recently, I thought that Callisto Protocol was going to be out in October. Like I thought that the whole summer until I really started like to report on it and everything. Cause I thought I would be playing that before like God of War or whatever. Cause those were like the
yeah.
two big games that I was thinking about getting for this year. I don't think I'm getting anything else past those two for this year. But
Okay. Well, I'm getting
yeah.
Pokemon Gotham Knights.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Pokemon,
ah, few-
I'm getting it. I just don't know if I'm gonna get it day one. I kind of still want to play around with all the retro stuff. I'm gonna talk probably a little bit more about the one I've been playing because I picked it back up for a second.
that makes
But
sense.
yeah,
I'm a
new.
sheep, so I get them day one. I can't help it.
That's
Uh,
cool
I'm, I'm
though.
I'm I'm that target audience. I'm that sheep. I just run in and just go grab it.
But at the same time, it's not like there's a sale. Like
Also
with
true.
Nintendo, it's like whether you waited 6 months or you got a day of, it's gonna
Uh,
cost the same thing. So
yeah, very true. Very
yeah.
true.
Speaking of spooky season though, like I forgot about how much there are a lot of movies that are coming out. And we're gonna wait to the end, or not to the end, but we're gonna talk about some of that stuff in a while. Not right now, because technically you talk about video games at the beginning. I didn't know where I was gonna start. I should have probably thought about that 2 minutes ago. But that's
That's all
okay. We
right.
probably could start with PlayStation. We always start with PlayStation to move around anyway.
Yeah.
Um,
You can blame me being the PlayStation guy. Yeah, we can start with PlayStation.
no, it's fine. The one thing I probably would start off with, because I don't really know too much news about this as much. I can just get through it. But the first thing I would say for PlayStation is just the PS5 was recently jailbroken. You heard about
Yeah.
this? Do you know any other details about it, or just the fact that it was jailbroken?
I just knew the fact that it was jailbroken and I was trying to figure out why. I feel like if you don't want to jailbreak something until it's readily available to pick up, and
Yeah,
that
some of these
seems weird
tech
to me.
guys are just on it though. Like
Yeah.
they would jailbreak anything. They just can't sit still. Like they just feel like they have to do it, I guess, and this is the next thing to do. But I said in I think a recent video that there were like two reasons to do it. One is just for the tech, just to see if you can, and
Yeah.
the other reason is for like $70 games and games you don't feel like it's worth your money or you don't want to pay for it kind of thing. I think there's a community of that's like looking for alternative means to get to stuff. And the main thing that I saw, I think on Twitter, was that a person who jailbroke a PS5 was able to have access to PT, playable teaser, which was supposed to be that initial demo for I believe Silent Hill before it was canceled.
Yeah.
Cuz that was a big thing. Like that's still a big thing for a lot of people, like people who have that installed on their computers, or not computers, but their PS4s
Uh
or
huh.
PS5 is like that is considered worth more money because it was
Yeah.
installed. And I'm like, it's really
Because there's
still,
no way to get it.
yeah, there's no other way to get it. I've seen some copycats that's been like added to Steam though, where
Yeah.
somebody did their best to recreate it, and then other people who did their best to try to make it a full game. And then like I think even Returnal, there's like this one spot where you go in the house and it's like all the first person and everything.
Huh.
So yeah. But what do you think? You think you would jailbreak your PS5? What would you jailbreak a PS5
Okay,
with?
so because I'm not an expert in jailbreaking, to be honest, I wouldn't jailbreak it again until they're readily available. Because, like, for one, Sony's very finicky. So as soon as there's a hint that you may have
Yeah.
jailbroken it, they're like, we ain't fixing it. Figure it out yourself. So, like, if I can't just readily just go get a new one if I mess everything up, uh, I don't think I'd be jailbreaking it, but that's me because I'm nervous and I don't know what I'm doing. So I
Yeah,
guess with the experienced people, right, to jailbreak it, I mean, then you have like the superior PS5, I guess. But
yeah, it's not really where you can go in stores and just get it. In some cases, if you follow the right people on whatever social media, you might get tipped off to when they drop a link for you to get it on online. But as of right now, you don't have to fight with bots as much as you used to.
yeah,
So it should be available if you want it. It's still probably most likely going to be in that bundle. I think there was like a Horizon bundle
yep, they're
that
always
was like
bundled.
550 at the least, and then there's all these crazy bundles from these other places like GameStop where it
Yep,
goes all the way up to like $900 sometime.
yeah,
Um,
because they're like, you gonna get an extra controller and this bad headset, but you get to have it because bundle. That's what they do.
yeah, speaking of which, I'll say this real quick before we keep going with PlayStation. There is a bundle, or not a bundle. You are able to get the Xbox Series S in stores in a lot of places. I think I can
Uh-huh.
walk into a Walmart that I usually go into and I see it all the time. However, as of right now, you can find it in select areas in Target where it's marked down $50. That's as of recording right now. And then they give you an extra controller. So it's the Series S with an extra controller for 250. And you can order that and pick it up at certain targets. I don't know how long they're doing that, but if you really, really want it or want to give it to somebody for Christmas, it's like now's the time to do it so you can get like $50 off and an extra controller. Other than
That's what's
that,
up.
it's like 300 retail everywhere. You can find them in a lot of good places, you know. But to get back on topic, I guess the bundle, there was a Horizon bundle, but there's more news surrounding Horizon Zero Dawn. So I guess we could talk about it like right now. But apparently, like it hasn't been made official, but it was like leaked and in somebody's database or something. I don't know that too well either. Maybe you could tell me. But there is supposed to be a Horizon Zero Dawn quote unquote remake happening for the PS5. I can imagine it's going to be very similar to the Last of Us remake, where they just
Uh-huh.
kind of do some AI stuff, work on their face a little bit, and then you know you could rebuy it for $70. How you feel about this one, man?
If it's available on the PS4, it does not need a remake for the PS5 when the PS5 is fully backwards compatible with the PS4. It doesn't make sense. It does. If I could just play it now. I understand if it's like a PS3 game or a
Yeah,
PS2 game, but if I could put in the PS4 disc, it doesn't need a remake. Like I can put in the disc, and it's fine. Like it works. It works 100%. It doesn't need a remake.
yeah. You know what's funny? I actually I have a short that was off of last week's podcast where I talked about, because I think I mentioned it on the podcast where I said not everything needs to be an upgrade, and so that's actually supposed to go out next week. I saved it for later, but it's kind of like you saying the same old tunes. Like really, not everything needs to be upgraded if it was already made available. Like the complete version of it was like $10 everywhere. The PC version was already out. You know, it's like what upgrades can you really do? Because I think the upgrade version is being remade for PS5, but it might also go to PC. And it's just like, what else was going to it that wasn't already there? it,
Yeah, I
it
don't know.
it looks silly. I don't think I would buy it. I might go get it from the library, but I don't think I'm gonna buy it because
I have the other one. I'll just
yeah, I
play
have
that
yeah,
one.
we both have the other
Like,
one. Like I got the other one for $10 complete. I'm gonna be honest, I did. It wasn't no
yeah,
greatest hit version either. It still had the regular box on it. It was just the regular one was complete. So
just
it just
because
looks
like
silly.
it's not even a point of like, oh well, some people like new generation may have missed out, could go back and get it because again, it's fully playable. Like you had
Yeah.
that excuse when the PS4 couldn't play PS3 games. It sucked, but there's the excuse of, well, we're going to remaster it for the PS4. So if you didn't get a PS3, you could still play it. But since everything works already on the new system, you don't need to re-release it. It's a money grab, a weird money grab. Like,
It's too obvious. That's the one that's crazy for
yeah,
me. Like you're a big fan of Sly Cooper. If it was Sly Cooper, I would still complain probably for a $70 price tag, but it would make more sense because it's like the only way you can play it is if you streamed the old one or if you had the old system, but it's like 2 generations behind,
right.
and you haven't seen a new version in a while. It's like the Horizon Forbidden West was earlier this year as of this recording. Like, it's like that one came out in February. And it's supposed to
Yeah.
arguably be a better game if you talk about it being an upgrade in every way from the other one. It should, in theory, be a better game. And that one came out in February. It's like you're not missing like Horizon or Aloy or whatever. You
No.
know?
And furthermore, no one played Forbidden West. It was like, dang, I wish I could go back and play Zero Dawn, but I ain't got the system. Like, if you can play Forbidden West, you can play
Yeah.
Zero Dawn on the same system. Like, you just needed to pick up the game. It makes zero sense.
Yeah.
And then at $70, like, really? For the remastered version? No.
The
No, no, no,
biggest
no, no.
thing I could see was there was a 60 FPS like patch update that people wanted. I don't even know. Maybe you could look this up, but I could have sworn Horizon Zero Dawn got a patch update for the PS5 at some point. I'm pretty sure they did. Because other than that, the PS4 Pro should play it at 4K. So, in theory, you should have the 4K version or performance version of that game playable for PS5 because of the updates. I don't know.
So, from a quick check,
Yeah.
from this website, it says notebookcheck.net.
Okay.
It says after PS5 update, Horizon Zero Dawn runs beautifully at 4K and 60 frames per second from September 2021.
Okay. So it's already been patched there. So
Oh,
it's
here we
like,
go. Eurogamer. Horizon Zero
okay.
Dawn's PS5 upgrade delivers a nigh on flawless 60 frames per second. A great way to play the original ahead of Forbidden West. So
Okay.
it played 60 frames per second before the sequel came out.
I'm just trying to understand because I don't understand the purpose of doing it if they did the work already. Like I don't know what exactly are you getting that would be different. Some facial animation? It would have to be facial animation strictly
I
because
think
the
so.
complete version. Not only that, they had the download pack where you could play the thing in Spanish. I remember seeing it. I was like, okay, when I get better at Spanish, I might try it that way.
So, according to, and again, this is a new website that I've never really seen before, but mpfirst.com,
Okay.
they showed pictures of like the comparison between Aloy and Zero Dawn and then Forbidden West. So at most, the upgrade is just going to make her look more like the Forbidden West one. That's all I can think.
And this is the part where I get canceled because wasn't people like going in on her, that version of her before, because they didn't like how her face looked and they were saying little things like about her weight and all of that.
Yeah, which for me, I thought that there was a understandable transition between the two, where she started like, you know, she's going off to fight all this stuff. She has to get stronger, and getting stronger is probably going to be getting a little stockier. So it, to me, the transition to like the new look, I can reasonably make sense of it. Personally. So if you make her look like this from the original
she was
one,
on top. You know, she was eating good. You got keys to the kingdom at that point. You know, you can get a cheeseburger every now and then. It's not
right.
You know, I got big
I
too.
I don't understand the purpose of this remake or remaster. I don't know what they're remastering.
They remastering the money. That's what they remastering. You go get a remaster of the money. They go give you a
Uh,
remaster of the money. That's what they want. They want you to remaster the money over to Jim. That's what the
uh,
Horizon Zero Dawn is for. It's for the remaster of the money.
to fund his plane trips. That's what it's for.
Yes.
We're paying for the ticket.
We could talk about that right now. So what's going on with Jim Ryan? You know, in the middle of, doing all of these things for all of this money, it seems to not be good enough because old boy still needs to take a plane trip out to the UK, I believe, to the regulators. It was somewhere he went. It was overseas though, to go talk to
To Brussels.
regulators in person for Call of Duty. Every week this man is having a heart attack over
Yep.
Call of Duty. It's like, bro, you're going to have to let that one go, dog. I don't know what to tell you, bro. I don't know what to tell you.
He flew out to Brussels to meet the European regulators in person to discuss Call of Duty. Mind you, up until this point, haven't they consistently said Call of Duty will still be on all the systems?
Yeah, and I remember, I guess the news before, because I guess Phil Spencer was like, I would have gave you 3 more years or whatever outside of the deal. He was being generous, and then I guess he came out and was like, "Hey, you know what? That's inadequate." I think was the word they were using, and it was like it came off ghetto too. It's just like it really came off ghetto. I'm like, y'all talking to the media about these things, and it's just like, yo, Call of Duty is printing that much money. I know Call of Duty is the biggest, like the biggest shooter. I mean, overall, but it was just like it's crazy because ain't none of these games, including the one on the screen, like you have no faith in none of them. Because that's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like you ain't got no faith in none of the games.
My thing is,
yeah, go ahead.
he out here. I don't get it because it's just like, like again, I play PlayStation, and you just like PlayStation exclusive, PlayStation exclusive. They don't get this. They don't get this. They don't get this. And Xbox is like, yo, we're gonna purchase the place that makes Call of Duty, and all of a sudden he's like, no, 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 that's not fair. Like,
not
no,
fair.
and freaking out, and it's like, and as you said it, like you have all of your own IPs, like show your faith into them. Help revitalize Battlefield. Just be like, we need our own competition and revitalize Battlefield. Bring back Killzone. Something. If you're that scared, like,
yeah, well, I don't
it's
think
not worth all of
Battlefield
this.
isn't theirs, but I think Battlefield is EA, right?
Yeah.
Battlefield, but not even that. Like I've seen people say, like they bring up the names, the Killzone, like I think you just mentioned, and then Resistance comes up, SOCOM comes up. I don't think that they need to bring back anything else. I think they should just come out with a shooter and give it a fresh new name and a fresh new coat of paint, fresh new branding. At the end of the day, it's still a shooter. And it's like, okay, the only other thing is like, okay, it's a shooter, and then you're gonna have your same cutscenes. So you can't do the cinematic cutscenes in first person instead of like third person. And then you can't just like do a shooter. Because to me, a shooter is just, I mean, what is it? Like I keep saying, it's like it's left trigger, right trigger, the left button. Like it's the same layout. It's the same layout.
It's exactly the same
It's
layout.
the same layout. And I'm just like, well, like it can't be that serious. You can't just put one out on your platform and like, yeah, it's not gonna compete with like none of them are gonna compete with Call of Duty for a long time, but you can't just put one out. Like it just sounds disrespectful to the first party lineup. And it looked disrespectful when he's doing all that type of stuff because he don't make them type of like public outcries for any of his other games.
Yeah.
Like the games just come out, they do whatever, and that's it. You don't hear like, oh, it should be this or it should be that, and that's inadequate. And like Okay, the Horizon remake is inadequate. Like literally,
Yo,
it's inadequate. Like it don't make no sense. It's like there's no
facts.
it, but it just don't make no sense how he is acting the way he's acting in general because it just sounds so. It looked unprofessional. It looked tacky.
Yeah.
It looked tacky. It looked like at least go out with some pride. If you really going out, if it's really gonna bankrupt PlayStation, I don't think it'll bankrupt PlayStation, but he
No,
acting like it would bankrupt them.
he
I'm
is.
just like, if that's the case, like, you know, go out a little defiant and say like we don't even need it. Matter of fact, we don't even want it. I would say stuff like that even if they still came to the platform because I just feel like, but you don't got this and this ain't never going over there. Like say something like that. Don't be like, crying though. Like you crying Jim Ryan. It's not lying Jim Ryan. It's crying Jim Ryan is what it is.
Oof. Oof.
It's just I don't know. It seems so embarrassing to me to
Yeah.
be the head of a company crying over this one game week after week after week. And it
Yeah.
ain't doing them no good because they're still finalizing the Activision deal in real time. I think they just put a hard deadline on the remaining part of like March 2023. It has to be finalized by March 2023. And Brazil was like, let it go. Let it go through. So, at least have some pride about what you got. That's all I
Some
gotta
pride.
say.
Just
Some
some
pride.
pride.
Yeah, we could move on for that. It just seems embarrassing. Other than that, let's look at PlayStation. Is there anything else for PlayStation? There got to be at least one thing. PlayStation's live service. I almost missed it.
Oh yeah. We got PlayStation Stars too.
Oh yeah, yeah. I guess we can put it in one because I did sign up for the PlayStation Stars because it said it was free. So I was like, all right, you know what? I'll
Yeah.
just put it in there. It says I earned 1 point or something. I don't know what it said it on the app. I didn't even do
Yep.
nothing. I think it's just
All
for
right.
signing up.
So when you sign up, you get a point, and then I played a game, and it gave me another point, and it gave me like an image of like a T-Rex. I was like, okay. But when I go to PlayStation Stars on my PlayStation,
Yeah.
it just opens up PlayStation Plus. Like so, it's not working there. But when I go to it on my phone, that's when it was like, you get this dinosaur, and I was like, okay, and I don't really care.
It's just a
And
picture. Is it just
it
an
was just a picture of
NFT?
a dinosaur.
It's an
Yeah,
NFT. That's
it's
what you got.
basically like I think this thing was NFT until they decided like nobody likes NFTs, which is good. But then on top of that, they were like, you get points for. That's what I like really noticed. It was like you get points for playing specific games, and you get points for buying specific games. So it wanted me to buy two Madden 23, NBA 2K 23, and a few other ones, and I would get the picture or something like that for purchasing all of these sports games. So I'm like, so you want me to spend like $300 to get a photo? Like I'm okay. Thanks though. And then it was like, if you play like this campaign for this specific game, you get this photo, which for treasure hunters and things like that, and it's almost like, I mean, it doesn't, because it's free and it doesn't do anything. It does feel a little like low impact. It's just, if I played it and then they give me something, that's cool. Like, I guess I don't see the big deal.
It just
Um,
came off a little silly to me because it looked like a bunch of achievement things that you would do, like
yeah,
go do this but it was just like my whole thought process when I was looking at some of it was like I'm kind of busy with these games right here right now
yeah.
though.
That's what I
So
didn't like. It's almost like you got to play what they want you to play.
yeah, it was like but I'm all for it. The
Oh,
only issue I had was what we was talking about before, the whole customer service thing.
so that's a problem now. Now
Yeah,
that I see that because like apparently PlayStation Stars has tiers,
yeah,
1, 2, 3, 4, and the fact that you grow in tiers not just from playing games, it's specifically from playing the games they want you to play, which also involves buying the games they want you to play. So it's if you just buy something, now all of a sudden you get more customer service. It's not just if you play more, you're higher tier. Now you have to just buy stuff to be higher tier, and that's bad. You're paying for good customer service now.
Yeah, that's the only part that I had somewhat of an issue with because it just came off like bad business practice in a way, or kind of shady in a way, like
Yeah. Oh, definitely shady.
a little shady. So, um,
Um, there's something else about it though.
sure.
So if you purchase or every point, like yeah, you get points if you purchase stuff, and you get a point for every 10 cents you spend, including tax.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You get a point for every 10 cents you spend, and when you get like 17,500 points, then you get to get a $70 game. That's the idea. Now, if you're just doing this based off of money, because it's 10 cents for every dollar, right? that you get a point,
Yeah.
basically, that means you would have to spend $1,750 to get one $70 game based off of just the PlayStation Stars stuff.
Yeah. That sounds like the tactics that like a lot of credit cards use. So they'd be like, here's a credit card. You've got 3 months to spend all this money, and then we'll give you $100 back or something. It's
Yeah,
like,
3 months to
yeah,
spend
after you done put
2,000 and you get
yourself in
100.
debt, and then they make it back based off of like interest. I'm like, yeah. So, a lot of predatory stuff here. I've fallen for that type of stuff a long time ago. I might not ever fall for it again.
Yeah, nah.
So,
So I guess at where I'm at now, because I'm not falling for this stuff, like all I see this as is like, for example, like I said, I played a game that I wanted to play,
right.
and then they were like, "Hey, we noticed you playing a game. Here's a picture of a T-Rex." I was like, "Okay." Like it's just like I
Yeah.
don't understand what this is for. Like that's what I'm trying to figure out what it's for. Like I understand the achievement of like everything, but like I don't like the idea that it's like you have to play the games. We want you to like I don't want to stop playing Persona 5 to go play NBA 2K23 solely because I want this picture.
It's
So
just
that's what
little
I'm not
sneaky ways to.
understanding.
It's just to keep you locked into the ecosystem longer, and
Eh,
make you feel or make you almost dependent on the ecosystem in a way. Yeah, just get you addicted to the system and get you addicted to being a PlayStation player.
I do feel bad for trophy hunters, like for people who like really need these achievement things because they're gonna see this and end up trying to use it probably
Bro,
to get
you
these
know
achievements
the
and waste so much
trophy
money.
hunters though, like you remind me because I shown you some of the pictures of these people who got like 400 platinums and stuff. Like they're actually the real platinums too. It's
Yep.
like
Okay,
those
but
people are
also
gonna get it.
one of the people you showed me though, when I was just like, how they got this many platinums, and I looked, did you see what games they were playing? Because you can look at their list of games if you go to their profile, and I
Yeah.
did that for one of them. And homie was he played Peppa Pig because the game lasts like an hour and you get your platinum, and that's all it has in there and everything. So they go through and specifically play games that cost like 20 cents and last like an hour for the experience just to platinum it, to have a
Yeah.
platinum in their name. Because like I was just like,
Some
there's no way they're platinuming 800 games if everything is a platinum like Batman, where you had to go get all 400 like Riddler trophies and everything. Like, there's no
yeah.
way they're platinuming that many, or some of them that's like you got to beat the game on the hardest difficulty, but to unlock the hardest difficulty, you got to play it on normal and then play it on hard. And each one's like a 25-hour experience. Like,
For
there's no
some of them
way.
you basically buying a trophy. Like you go buy that real quick for a couple bucks. It'll
Yep.
last you less than an hour, maybe a little bit more than an hour. Definitely less than 6.
Yeah.
And then you just get the trophy so you can go brag on the internet. That's all it was for
Weird.
to begin with. It lasts you
Well,
like one day. And so there's no achievement in it. It's not like you grabbed the brass ring, quote unquote. You didn't just beat the streak. Like you didn't do none of that type of stuff no more.
nope.
You showed up to tough enough. So
Well, you know what?
Yeah.
PlayStation Stars is for them.
Yeah. I don't think I would do exactly what they want me to do unless I really didn't have nothing else to play. Which is almost impossible at this point because I didn't got all
Yeah.
the systems. I got so many systems.
No,
Um,
theirs just got to line up with what I'm already doing. Like I'm currently
yeah.
playing Persona 5. So if they start giving me stuff for getting so far in Persona 5, hey, it lines up. I'll do it. But other than that, nah.
The other part of this was technically PlayStation. So this kinda is in the title too, because I don't know. It's not to me. See, some of these things is more of a big deal to the community for more of a console war kind of thing. To me, it's not too big of a deal, but maybe I'll get your take on it. So I guess it was recently also announced that the live service games that are going to be coming out on PS5 are going to be day and date on PC as well. And so that became a thing. And so, yeah, live service games. So it's not all the biggest exclusives. So it's probably still not, it's definitely not God of War. Um,
Nah.
but whatever's live service. So I expect actually, because I think we talked about this on the show before too. I think it might have been one of the first episodes, but I expect the multiplayer to Last of Us to be the live service game that probably will be on PC as well. The one that
Yeah.
they left out of the remake. That's supposed to have its own set of story and DLC or whatever it is. I don't know.
Uh-huh.
I think that will probably be one of them. So I expect that to be on PC. Day and date.
All right. So I'll say this. I don't know, play live service games. So I don't care where they release it. I don't know. Like, it's everything's going to PC. Like, just deal with it. Like I don't know what to tell you. Deal with it. If anything, try and look for the positive.
Yeah.
If they make more money, then they can put more money into like stuff.
Yeah.
Right? There's always a fear where it's like we can't release this game because we can't ensure that it's going to give us a lot of money. Maybe if they feel more secure in the money that they're making, they'll take more risk and you get all those experimental games like in the PS2 days and PS1 days and maybe get some new hidden gems. So if they get more money off of PC stuff, let them. It's fine.
It's funny
I
because
got both, so I don't really care what it's released on.
Fall count? Because I don't think we've ever sat down to put them down on paper as a list. But did Babylon's Fall possibly count as one of the 10 service games, or is like that was too early?
It might have been a little bit too early, but it could have.
Because
I don't know. I didn't look to see, but they tried and failed on that one.
The thought process, because I remember everybody saying this, was that they're going to throw them all out there, and the one that sticks is going to pay for the other ones. That's what everybody kept saying. So
well,
I wonder,
they got to release a second one to pay for Babylon's Fall.
Babylon's Fall. So maybe the Last of Us factions too will pay for Babylon's Fall, because Babylon's Fall didn't do it. It didn't do it. Yeah. Excuse me.
Definitely
for drinking
didn't.
Water on the podcast.
Are you good?
I needed a
hydrate or dihydrate, man. Hydrate or dihydrate.
Speaking of dihydrate, I think you wanted to talk. I don't think that's not good. Is that a good transition?
It depends on where you're leading to, and I think I know where you're going.
I know you know where I'm leading to. It's gonna keep it real brief because I didn't even want to talk about this. Is like right in the middle. But a certain someone did a bad thing to a loved one, or
Yeah.
over a Valorant game.
So, yeah. Let's see how to put this nicely. A woman, 21 years old, iced her sister. Her sister's sleeping with the fishes now. Because she was flirting, like the sister was flirting with the girl's boyfriend on Valorant. So apparently they play together on Valorant, and she saw the messages, and I think the boyfriend told the sister I love you or something like that, and homegirl lost it and went all scream. For my Dead by Daylight players, she went all Legion.
However we do, we still get canceled. I don't know. This is a sensitive topic. We're not supposed to.
Oh, it's a very sensitive topic. Here's the thing. It's I don't know, blame the guy? Like, that's just weird over Valor. Look,
But he had to
Valor
lose
got
his
a
life
lot of.
over it. No, I can't blame him for losing his life.
Oh, he
Even
didn't.
if he
He's
was
good. I
just
don't think
being a
he's gone.
dog, then he was just being a dog, but he had to lose his life. He could have just lost
Nobody needed
the
to lose their
relationship.
life. Nobody needed to lose their life and
Yeah.
everything, like at all. Over this, but yeah, that happened. I don't think. I don't know. I can't find anything that says like she went after the guy.
So the girl caught her sister and her boyfriend, just to keep it in
Flirting.
plain English. She saw the DMs, is what we hearing.
Yep.
And she was not happy with what she saw in the DMs. And she took action. She took action. She pulled the melee weapon out. And she got to meleeing, I guess.
So just to add to this, the reason why I think boyfriend was spared is it was a long distance relationship.
So all he had to do was just log off. He ain't even had nothing to do with none of this. That's the crazy
Correct.
part. Like the dude just log off. He could change his username and then that's it.
Yep.
It's like no, they had some issues in house, in fam that they needed to work on. Cause all he had to do was log off. It wasn't no different to him than if he was just going on Twitch and pretending anyway. That's all you was doing anyway. No. So it's bad because that's probably what he did. Maybe he got maybe he might got a nightmare or two. You know, maybe a little bit of trauma or two. Just the thought of it, knowing he could see the news. But at the end of the day, he just gonna log out and log back in somewhere, or he keep the same username and everything. Ain't it like nobody else gonna know? I don't know his username right now.
Nope, they never mention him.
Yeah, so he can just chill. So that's So and you know what? If two people lost their life, one person's gonna lose their life, the other person's gonna rot. And this is like for what? For what? The game. By the time she gets out, how many systems? How many? It might even be systems anymore, maybe, because you talk about some real time. You're gonna be doing some real time. Valorant gonna be long gone. It's gonna be the next thing, whatever the shooter is. If it's 3D, if it's anything virtual or something like it's gonna be a whole nother thing. But you sitting in a real jail cell, and you gonna be really rotten for doing something like that. So,
and I should add that this part where I said that like she caught the message of saying I love you, that's not confirmed, but she believes she saw that. Yeah, so there's some other stuff going on there for sure.
We're not supposed to make light of this, but I don't know how else to talk about it, but it is what it is.
It's sad.
Rest in peace to the sister. Rotten peace to the other one, I guess. But this actually does tie back into Nintendo, which is oddly enough.
This transition. Okay, I gotta hear this.
It transitions back into Nintendo because there was one thing that we did not mention that because I know we unintentionally at one point forgot to talk about Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and then we talked about it the week after to like make up for it. But I don't think it was ever really brought to the attention to anyone else what really happened with the delay of that direct. So the reason why I say this reminds me of something else, because if you remember the timeline, the Queen of England passed away, right? You remember that?
I do.
It's funny. It's like, am I gonna break this? Am I gonna break this story? Because nobody else broke this. I don't think anybody else broke this. But if you think about it, the Nintendo Direct was delayed because of that.
Oh, that's right.
It was delayed because of that. But you think about it, it's like, well, they're not even really related. Why would it be delayed? But the big announcement for Zelda's name was called Tears of the Kingdom. Oh, it was called Tears of the Kingdom, and the Queen died.
Well, I don't think that was the reason. I'm sure that didn't help. But I think also it's because when the Queen passes, like England had like sort of a media blackout where it was like nothing else shall air. All that you will see is news about the Queen. So they were like, well, then we're not going to air this yet because none of the European people can watch it live. They all have to watch a recording.
Yeah.
and they didn't want to do that. But the name does that is iffy.
It
That
was the
is
Tears
iffy.
of the Kingdom, man. It was like, y'all tears are delicious, is what Nintendo's was saying. I don't know. Maybe they was going there a little bit. They was like, we drinking your tears or something. I don't know. So they was like, look, we're gonna ignore this disaster. We're gonna move it back a few days, and that's what they did. I just put two and two together. Maybe I'm wrong. I just had to think about it. I'm like, okay, the queen died. She had a kingdom, and the game comes out the same day or whatever. It's like Tears of the Kingdom. It's like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know, homie. But yeah, so I
That'd
don't
be
know.
crazy if that's how they picked the name.
I don't know.
That'd
Should I?
be extra wild if they didn't have a name. They were just like Legend
They
of
picked
Zelda
it
2.
last minute. It was like,
And then they're
we
like, oh, we got it.
Tears. That's Now they really out of pocket if they did that. They really out of pocket. But yeah, that was part of the Nintendo news. It's not really news. The real news is this huge Mario movie that they're making. And so I don't know if we're on the same page on it, but I'll get your feedback on it right now. So right now they were they dropped this trailer. Now, here's my thing. I just want to say real quick and then I'll get your feedback. I thought this might be a little controversial, but as a trailer, it was fine. I would give it like a 9 out of 10. I thought it was great. As a direct, this was trash. You spent 30 minutes on nothing. Like, did you see that? It was like a 40-minute thing, and it was 30 plus minutes of pure nothing. I was like, why did you even call it a direct and go through that to occupy like the last 9 minutes of the thing? It was like pure nothing. It was like you thought it was like the pre-screen or whatever, but if you go to the actual direct video, I'm like, typically a Nintendo Direct is 40 minutes, so I'm like, no, you got to count this whole thing. That first 30 minutes is part of the Direct, and that's an F. That's an F. No. So as a Direct, I think you can't cancel me for that. You got to be on somebody on the chat, whoever listens, you got to be on my side on that. Like, y'all sat there live. I didn't sit there live for that. But somebody sat there live for 30 plus minutes and saw absolutely nothing. And then they dropped the trailer after like an interview or two with some of the actors. But
so you know how IGN, like when they like re-upload the directs, there's always like 30 minutes extra of just like a countdown timer.
Yeah.
All right. So I saw the trailer directly. That was it. The trailer dropped and I saw the trailer. And then I went, oh shoot, that's right. This was a direct. Let me go back and scroll through that. And I saw like, it was like an hour and 20 something minutes from IGN, but I knew the first 30 was just a countdown. Yeah. So I scroll past that. And then as I'm scrolling on YouTube, where it just kind of shows you the image of what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that like somebody was talking and then Chris Pratt was talking and then Jack Black was talking. And I just kept scrolling. I was like, are they good? Like, is there anything else just besides the movie? So as I'm scrolling, I just see a few people talking. Then it cuts to the movie trailer, and that was it. And I went, yeah, I'm not watching this direct. Like, I saw the trailer. I saw all they showed. Yeah. Like, I don't need to hear them talk about it.
Once you saw the trailer, that was it. My only issue was that on the Nintendo channel, like, their version of it was supposed to be 40 minutes. And the first 30 minutes of this direct was, like, literally just an image on the screen. And the only thing that was going was just the chat. And I'm like, how is this a direct? This is an F. No. No. But I mean, quickly everybody forgot about that and just moved straight on to the movie itself. So as a movie, it was just fine. I already did like a short on this for last week or something, or however, I forgot what I did it. But basically, of course, the actors didn't sound like them. I didn't expect them to. I really did thought this whole time that he was just gonna show up and just talk how he normally talks, but just like try to make it sound a little different. And that's
I didn't think he was gonna do that.
Yeah.
So I thought he was just gonna sound like he normally sounds like. I thought they were gonna show Mario and he's gonna be like, "Hey guys," like that's what I thought. But because he is trying to sound a little bit different, not a lot, but like if you heard it in his voice, like the Mushroom Kingdom. Like Like it wasn't enough, but it was more than I thought was gonna happen. The trailer, like you said, 9 out of 10. Like it looked great, and
Yeah.
it looks like it's gonna be a funny movie. I don't think they necessarily needed random star power as the voices to pull people in. Like it's Mario, everybody knows Mario, so they're just gonna go see it because it's Mario. But I think I'll still see it. His voice is gonna take some getting used to, but I think I'll enjoy the movie overall.
Yeah, it's gonna be like super high res art basically for the way it looks.
Uh huh.
I thought that it looked awesome. I thought the way they did the animation of his face was so much different from Odyssey. Because the first thing
Yeah.
when I was going to it, I was like, are they just gonna do a movie of Odyssey? But it was like so much more high resolution. It's crazy. But yeah, I expect it to be cool. I don't think it's gonna be any different than what we normally would see. It's just they're gonna have it in movie form. I do kind of cringe a little bit at the idea of them trying to do that. You know how they usually go with comedy? Like they got a lot of people here that does comedy.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of time when people do comedy in movies that don't necessarily like whenever movies like something gets a movie adaptation, they always try to like stick a band-aid on it with comedies to try to string it along.
True.
Even Mortal Kombat, that movie did comedy and that did not work. It did not work for Mortal Kombat whatsoever. But Mortal Kombat is a different beast compared to this one, so um we'll see what it does. I'm not gonna hate on it. I think
Yeah.
uh
We'll see. Um.
it'll be straight. It's straight. But there's one other piece of news for Nintendo that's not so nice.
Uh
Nintendo
huh.
was trying to block you from seeing some certain type of content. In Nintendo Land, I'm about to get canceled. They like to blur some of those areas. When you watch certain not safe for work content, but Nintendo's like, no, we're not even blurring it. We don't want it there at all. So yeah, any
I
other this is your topic technically. You
I
want to
won't
tell
say
me
it
about
like that.
this?
So I don't know if this is necessarily, to be honest, a bad thing.
My co-host
So
did a lot of research, by the way,
I
before
did
this.
not do a lot of. I got one article from Eurogamer. Uh, so basically, there's a game publisher, Game Uzumi, who
Okay.
they like to make what they call ecchi. You can look that up yourself on what that means. Mature content games. Um, softcore. It's just mature content games, and they decided they were going to put one of their games up called um, Hot Tentacles Shooter, and
Oh my
uh,
gosh.
yeah, you can use your imagination on all of that stuff or whatever. But
Yeah.
Nintendo was like, nah. Like they just said no to the naughty naughty. They saw it was just like not approved, out of here. And they're upset because like they were just like because of these decisions that Nintendo was like, we're blocking anything that's like adult content. Because they were like, well, we got this other game, the it's Elves Christmas Puzzle, and there's a certain H word that's also in there. Um, and they got like other games too, and like basically Nintendo's like, no, 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 no. And now they're gonna be releasing like blurred versions of the game to try and re-put it in the Nintendo shop
Yeah.
and see if that gets approved instead. Which I don't know why he's pushing so hard to get this on Nintendo,
That
but
is this game still multi-plat and you can see all that crazy stuff like at
yeah,
least
it's
on
on Steam.
PC? Yeah.
Yeah, it's on PC. It's on Steam. You can
Okay.
get it there, and now he's trying to get it on Nintendo as well.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. So he keeps making puzzle games where like the reward is seeing like there was one where it's like I guess you match shapes from what I described, or maybe you shoot them. I don't know. Do something and the picture starts falling, and then behind the or the images start falling, and behind it is the final image, which would be like a topless person. Like
My
that's
only
the whole purpose of
question,
the game.
my only question is how do they expect you to play this game with one hand?
Well,
I'm done. I'm done.
that's
I'm gonna
the
stop. I'm gonna stop.
tagline for their company.
Are you serious? Oh my
Games, something like games so good you can play, or like games you can play with one hand, or something like that. So that is the tagline for
all
their
right, that's all
company.
right. They just doing too
Uh,
much. They doing too
yeah,
much. That's doing too
yeah.
much. That's nasty.
So
That's
no,
nasty.
it's absolutely nasty. You
It's
brought it
doing
up
too
though,
much. That's why I don't
but
buy used controllers. So yeah, I don't buy used controllers. I don't want to play with nobody
yeah.
else's joystick.
So the
So
short version of the story. The short version of the story. If you
yeah.
want to play risque games, they're not going to be on
Pause.
the Switch.
Yeah, yeah. You know, even Bayonetta, they was like, "Yo, you gonna have to put some clothes on. We ain't got time."
Yeah. Uh, so that
But
was that. You know what though? We talked about movies, and I wanted to rapid fire after we talked about Mario movies. There's a few other movies coming out.
sure, sure. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Since I mentioned this is spooky month,
Okay.
so we got VHS 99 is coming out this month, or yeah, October 20th,
It's
right?
hitting. It's hitting online. The that app, I believe.
Yeah, Shutter.
Yeah, Shutter.
Um, yep.
Okay.
So it's coming out then, but then there's a sequel already announced.
This
That's
is
going to be coming
hype.
out in next
Hype.
year.
Yes.
Called VHS 85.
Oh, they taking it back. They're gonna do
Yeah. So
75
they've been
after that
jumping
one.
all around, but I think it works for them because like they could just like it's a collection of just horror stuff, so they can put it in any era that they want. But yep,
Yeah.
they're going. It's going to be a Shutter original as well.
Okay.
So you got that coming out already announced. Also coming out this month that I'm excited for. It comes out on the 12th. It's a documentary called "I Love You, You Hate Me," and it's a Barney documentary
Oh my
where it shows
gosh.
the dark side of the filming for that show.
I saw some of the
So
wild details. I'm like, y'all did all of this while I was just watching as an innocent little child. Like, what's going on? Like,
yeah,
y'all couldn't like, you couldn't just like. That's so funny because it's like you can't. You just simply can't be a pure-hearted, pure human being. You just gotta be into something. You just can't be a pure person, can you? Like,
no,
it was just crazy when I was looking at it. I'm like, man, I was supposed to have been an innocent child, watching an innocent show. Because even Elmo has some stuff that came out, or the actor of Elmo has some stuff come out that one time. It was just like, what's going on here? But now Barney about to get it too a little bit. Like, what's going on? What's
so
happening
we
with
get to
Barney?
see all the real life bad stuff that happened behind the scenes of this show between people's like just
All the
theories about it and like all this other stuff, and then all tying up to the things that actually happened. So it's like a 2 episode thing, but they both release on October 12th. I'm excited for that. Also, just released for a trailer a couple days ago called Violent Night. So this comes out more in December. But David Harbour, from basically everything right now, but like Stranger Things, and he was in Black Widow, and he was Hellboy, and all that stuff. David Harbour is going to be playing Santa in a movie where basically some criminals break in somewhere and they're like threatening to hurt people and kill people, and then Santa goes all violent on them and starts killing them because
oh
they're
my
all on the naughty
gosh,
list. But like it's very
it sounds
bloody
like
and
Krampus
stuff
in a
like
way.
that. You said
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, it sounded like the movie Krampus in a way. Because wasn't Krampus
Yeah,
supposed to be evil Santa?
he
Something like
is.
that.
Yep. That's what they're doing, and it looks
Okay.
good. Very violent, like it's like an action-packed, like comedy thriller, essentially.
Okay.
Because like it would be an action-packed thriller, but it's also Santa Claus, so comedy thriller. So we got that, and then speaking of Christmas, so we mentioned for the last movie I want to talk about, we mentioned how Winnie the Pooh entered the public domain for being an old IP, and now everybody can use it as they want.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I think I used the example that like if you make a TV show or a book, or you're writing a book and you want to say the kids were watching, if you use like a famous thing, you kind of got to give money to those people. But once it enters the public domain, you can just have the kids watching Winnie the Pooh like in your story, and you don't have to pay anybody because it's like a public. Anybody's allowed to use it now.
I'm still kind of surprised that they allowed that particular one to go there, because it looked like something that just printed money for kids all the time, because they ran like reruns
Yeah,
all the time.
it's not necessarily like we're gonna stop it. It's just after like in literature, after something's existed in so long, you can
Yeah,
like free use it. Like you notice how like certain times in like, for example, certain YouTube
Shakespeare.
channels, they'll like blur
Yeah,
like certain things, and it's because they don't have a license to like use it, and you would have to pay them money. It's not like free advertisement. It's like you're using their product. You got to pay them. Once it hits public domain, anybody can use it.
yeah,
Is the idea. So they made Winnie the Pooh Blood and Money, right? Or Blood and Honey. That's what it
yeah.
was with the horror movie. Well, another title has just hit public domain, and that's The Grinch. The Grinch is now public domain, and there's a movie coming out this December called The Mean One, and it's a Grinch slasher movie. So it's like a slasher horror film
Oh my gosh.
based off of The Grinch. So we got two bloody Christmas movies coming out this year, man. Now I got things to add to my like
Yeah, I gotta
Christmas
catch
yearly
up.
watches.
I gotta catch up because I haven't been watching the Christmas. There's a couple of them. There was one called Red Christmas and Black Christmas. There was movies that I
Uh huh.
had, so I gotta catch up on these because I do want to see them. I want to see the Haddich, I guess. So
Yeah.
yeah. Um, are those all the movies? Is that all of them?
Yep.
That everything?
That's all the ones I got coming out.
All right, if you made it this far, please hit the like button, share this out to a friend. Thank you so much for watching or listening. If you downloaded it for work, I used to do that a lot with a lot of other people's stuff. I still technically do. But yeah, I think we're closer to the halfway point. At the halfway point, I usually give you some free games, or at least access, or I mention where you can go get free games. That's what I should say. Not sponsored. My unofficial sponsor to almost every podcast so far is Epic Games. One day they might actually sponsor us. That would be cool, right? But
That'd be the dream.
right now they have free games that you can go and get just by having a profile directly on Epic Games, and you do not need a credit card or debit card in order to do this. So the games are still the same games last week that I mentioned that you have from now until October 13th. So that was going to be the game called Rising Hell. I'm sorry. It's called Rising Hell. And then the other one was called Slain Back from Hell. So those two games you have until October 13th in order to get. And then there's a game that comes out, or a game that they have for free that's going to be able to be claimed from October 13th until October 20th. And this one kind of has a funny name. It's called Toe Jam and Earl Back in the Groove.
Okay.
So I don't know what that's about, but yeah, Toe Jam and Earl Back in the Groove is the other game. So you have from the 13th to the 20th in order to get this one for 100% free. And here's the cool one, man. I got an extra one out there for you. There's an extra one. And this is for you people who own a Nintendo Switch. Yes. There is a game that you can claim on Nintendo Switch. It is free to play. So you already know about these free to plays. But this one is called Guardian Tales. You can go and get this game. It looks like a top-down Zelda game, which you've probably seen in the past. It's called Guardian Tales. And you can go and get that, claim that, download it for free if you have a Switch or a Switch profile. I believe you can do it from the website as well if you don't have access to your Switch right now. Whatever your situation is. But yeah, that's a free-to-play game. I'm pretty sure it's similar to probably Genshin Impact, but like a top-down version. See, Zelda games get cloned a lot, so I don't know. This one is free,
Yeah.
so have at it. That's the next free game, and that leads me into my next topic because all of the above can be played on the Steam Deck. And I wanted to talk about the Steam Deck for a split second. It's not too long, it's just some news about it. The Steam Deck has officially shipped over 1 million units. So
Wow.
it is officially a player out here. And not only that, I believe they removed the reservation for it, so you don't have to have a reservation for it anymore. I remember at one point it was up to like 3 months before you can get it. Now you can get it for less than 2 weeks from you purchasing it. So I could literally today purchase it and get it by probably Halloween or right before Halloween.
Oh,
So
that's
that
what's up.
thing is available. It's not available in stores, it's available online though. So you can get that, and it is here. Steam Deck is here to stay. It wasn't just a gimmick. They seem to be doing just fine with their sales. The only other thing, I think they announced the dock for it a while back. The dock can be purchased, but I think they are. I don't know about this too much. I know it can. It has a price, and I think people weren't too happy about it. So I think the dock price is like $80 for it,
Okay.
and it does what you would think a Nintendo Switch dock does. But I think there was some stuff going on about it. But at the end of the day, they're still working on their stuff, and they're not, going away like Stadia. uh, Stadia didn't get these type of numbers in the beginning, so yeah, Steam Deck is here to stay. I believe I did a video a while back where they were talking about how they were probably going to do a Steam Deck 2 as well. So yeah, man, we gonna have Steam Deck is it's in rotation, man. We gotta, I don't know which we say, it's like the fourth one or something. Can we put it in the same category as Nintendo's and PlayStation and Xbox yet? I don't know, but
Well, no, because it's just PC. It's portable PC.
yeah, I don't know how to say it, but it is here. You can still get one. I do want to get one maybe late next year. It might be a whole year before I get it because there's
Okay.
still other things I would get before that. But yeah. So that's all the news I have on that. Um, there's one other topic here because I'm looking at my list of how I wrote this down. Let me put out the news of this real quick first. So Dragon Ball The Breakers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if people forgot about it, but if you forgot about it, it snuck up on you because this is coming out October 14th, 2022. So
That's real
it's
close.
very, very close. So in the middle of next week, you'll be able to play this game. And I kind of I'll be honest, I forgot about it. It kind of snuck up on me. I remember looking at the footage, what they shown. I did kind of like dismissed it as like a Dead by Daylight thing and just thought it looked more like a meme, like it was kind of funny,
Yeah.
almost as if like somebody made it up on a PC. You know how they throw out them PC games? It was like more polished than that. It's like I didn't give it as much credit, unfortunately. And I feel like a lot of other people probably felt the same way. But, not to be disrespectful to it, because Dragon Ball Z as a franchise obviously is iconic at this point. And they print something out on it every year, but this is just a game. It just snuck up on us. You kind of forgot about the due date. It just sort of, they showed us footage and stuff as time went on, and I'm gonna be honest, I forgot about it. I don't know. How do you feel about
I didn't
this?
know it was coming out this soon.
Yeah.
Like, I never paid attention to the release date. I just knew it was coming. But I thought it was kind of going to be like a next year type of game. It's almost like, any game that's announced this year is coming out next year. So I didn't even think about it.
Yeah, we've been on that wave for
Um,
everything else, but yeah, no, this one was one of the ones that was like, nah, we here right before the holiday. I was like,
eh.
oh,
Like, I occasionally play Dead by Daylight. My brother's like super into it.
yeah.
I don't know. I love Dragon Ball Z. I don't think this is one I'll play though. I'll watch some like people play it just to see what it's like, but
Yeah.
eh, but I
It's
don't
no
know.
disrespect to the series at all. It's just I feel
Oh,
like a lot of people probably are on that same wave because it's not really talked about. But when I looked
for,
at it, I was just like, it looked like something I probably would have picked up for a split second and put it
yeah,
right back down. It works for the service. Like if you have
right.
Game Pass or PS Plus Extra or Platinum, I think, like it works
Uh
for
huh.
one of those. But
So the thing is for games like Dead by Daylight,
yeah,
I'm into it, but not like super into it. Like I'll pick it up every once in a while, but I get my fix from just that one, right?
yeah,
For people who are like real into those type of games, the 1v4, 1v5, one person super powered and everybody else like has to do what they can to fight, like Evolve and like all the games like that. If you're that fan and a fan of Dragon Ball Z, then I think this would be perfect for you. For
yeah,
sure. It's just because I'm not the biggest into those type of games. It feels like getting this would be getting it just because it says Dragon Ball Z on it. But like I have Dead by Daylight, I could just get my fix through that and then call it a day.
yeah. I mean, it did look like they still offered some interesting concepts with it. Like it's not a direct clone. I don't think that's fair to say. Because I remember looking at certain things
True.
that you do. Like there's a moment where you could actually turn into a Z fighter and fight Freezer or Cell for like a certain amount of time while your enemies, or while you're not your enemies, your people are trying to get to the ship to get away. And then there are moments like I guess when you're gathering the Dragon Balls, there's a certain thing that can happen. It looked kind of fun. It's just it came in a time frame where like your attention is on so many other games, bigger, like just bigger titles, I guess. So, um, I really do think though that it will be on Game Pass and PS Plus. I really do
Oh yeah.
think that's gonna happen.
I think so.
It just kind of sucks when you think about people. I know the complaint for some people is like you don't really play everything or you don't buy everything. It's just sometimes some of these games just come and you just look at them like, I don't think that's really worth my money. I don't know. But um that's still unfair because I think this game is cheap. If I remember correctly, this was like $30 at launch or something, 20 or 30 at launch.
Okay.
It was mad cheap. So
But again, like it's like if you're into those style of games, this would be great for you, right? It would be the
yeah,
same thing for me like buying a battle royal shooter. I'm not into battle royals, so like even if it was just Dragon Ball Z battle royal, it's just be buying it for the name. But if you're into that type of stuff, then I think it'll be perfect for you. But yeah, this does look like it'll eventually be PlayStation Plus, and maybe I'll try it then. But
yeah. I'm still very much interested in a lot of other things for Dragon Ball as a franchise. Dragon Ball Super, I should say.
yeah,
Super doesn't seem to be skipping a beat. Even though I can see how some people are a little bit like burnt out on Dragon Ball Z, I guess in a way. But
uh huh.
yeah, I guess we can we can definitely move on. Another big announcement I just wanted to mention. I don't know if this is big, but we missed it because this came out on September 30th. So yeah, we missed it a little bit, but I wanted to start bringing up certain releases. But Maneater was getting a re-release as
Mm.
the either deluxe conversion or complete version, I don't know, but they're calling it Maneater Apex Edition. And
Oh,
so it's supposed to come out and then it's supposed to have a new story and evolved like creatures that you have to fight in the water, I guess. And then at the same time, you get new evolutions as well. Because you remember at some point, like there's like this Pokemon thing that that shark goes through.
yeah.
I didn't ever get to that point. That is one of the games that I am technically currently playing that's in the backlog that I'm trying to finish. But
Okay.
I ain't getting nowhere near the point where he started turning into a Pokemon. I don't know how far you got, but
I haven't started the game. I've
yeah,
been technically I'm on Persona 5 and technically speaking Greedfall. Uh but yeah, no, I haven't started it yet. I'll get to it eventually. It'll get there eventually. I'm sure I'll enjoy it.
For
I'm starting to
anybody,
feel like though, for a lot of these games that is gonna get some DLC, just unless you're about to play it right then and there, wait. Wait till they release that full edition. Like,
yeah,
I
I
don't know.
think this is
Some of
the
it was just
third
yeah.
time this game got a release though, because I actually bought it when it first came out, and then they
Same.
tried to like sneak a re-release in there for the next gen version when the next gen
Uh-huh.
systems came out. And so this game now is the Apex edition. This is his third release. I don't know, and it's funny because I'm pretty sure don't nobody even know. I don't think people know that this is
I
the
don't think
third
people really be
time
talking about this game.
this
So it's
game got
crazy that
three
they're releasing it
releases.
again.
Yeah. So yeah. And just like that, we could move on for that because I don't know what else to say about Maneater. All I can say, anybody who already owns it, you're not really missing out on anything. You can still just buy the DLC stuff separate if you go in the store and look at it. So you're not missing out. You can still buy, from what I understand. If I'm wrong, correct me in the comment section, but I'm pretty sure I'm right on that. And
All
then
right.
yeah, we can move on from that. Um, there's one other thing here too that I could say right now because it's actually not that important either. I'm just
Okay.
throw it out there because I usually keep Dragon Ball's not Dragon Ball, Power Rangers towards the end. But there's really nothing else I really want to say here. All I want to say is just like if you were someone who was interested in that Zord Ascension Project Dragon Zord to go with the other one, the regular Megazord, if you already got it. I did get
Uh-huh.
it. I don't know who else got it, but for anybody out there that's interested, at least for America, it is my understanding that it's not supposed to be released until January 2023. However, multiple people now are starting to get this thing early. Now, I don't know if they're not in America, if they're in the UK, if it got an early release in the UK, because I know with the regular Megazord, it released on time in the UK, which was August 2022, where the American version was pushed back a month, which is September 2022. But at least on the website, I don't know what's going on, but on the website, Hasbro and wherever else, it all says it's not supposed to be released until 2023 January for
Oh.
the American version. But people are getting them in
Hey,
hand, like right now.
enjoy.
They have it right now if they got it. So if you are somebody who's anxious, it might be possible that you might get it early if you go and buy it now. So
All right.
yeah, that's the only other thing. And then we'll go back into the bigger topics. There's one bigger topic here that I want to get into before we get into all the other stuff that's your topics. Um, Dead Space released the trailer.
Uh-huh.
And I saw the trailer. I thought the trailer was cool. And I'm still hyped for this game, no different than I would be Callisto Protocol. I will say Callisto Protocol looked like it had more detail on gore than this,
Yeah,
slightly, maybe a little bit more
I
blood.
agree.
But it seems like the news around this right now has shifted towards the pricing of this game. And I found it to be very interesting because we actually touched on it. It was like a surprise thing for me in the show. Back on the 12th episode, if I remember. So it's
Uh-huh.
like 6 weeks ago we talked about this. And so now the rest of the people are talking about this now. But
First.
so yeah, we're 6 weeks ahead. So definitely pay attention to this podcast. We'll drop some news on you. Anybody out there. But
Yeah.
one thing I wanted to just I guess bring some detail to the people about. Back then we actually talked about Callisto Protocol being priced at $70 on the PS5 and the Series X. And on PC it was $60 and they were releasing day and date right next to each other, and it was the same version. And we couldn't understand why that was. And so now Dead Space is doing the exact same thing. And this particular time, now everybody else is starting to question this a little bit because it's like, well, they're releasing day and date. And I don't know, it's still sort of the same confusion because to me I'm like, well, why is the console version $10 more? I
I
still don't
don't
have anything else to say. Anything else that I found out, any other explanation since then? I don't know, but maybe you could tell me if you know.
I don't think there's a reason. Like it's honestly it's because the console games cost $69.99 and Steam hasn't done that yet. Like that, I feel like that's all it is.
Yeah, it's
Like I
just it's
really don't know.
strange.
I think it's because Steam's like you're already getting this quality, they can't justify charging $10 more. But like PlayStation could be like, oh, new system, new abilities, and $10. And I don't get it. I just don't get it.
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't come up with any scenario that would have made sense. It's just simply it just costs more for the sake of costing more. Because it's
Yeah.
like if you were someone who had, let's say, the standard person I've seen, if they didn't get an Xbox, they had a PC. So if you had a PC and you had a PS5,
Uh
you
huh.
probably would like teeter towards the PC side if your PC was like with more modern tech in it. If you could hit those frames, if you could hit that resolution. Like if you had a PC that had like what's the quote unquote sweet spot of 120 FPS at 144, not 140, is 1440p. That's what I'm trying to say. If you have 1440p at 120 frames, that's considered the sweet spot for a lot of people. That's what they aim for.
Uh
It's
huh.
like when you see these type of things, it's like, well, you would probably play these games on PC from the get go just simply to save $10, right? If
Yeah.
you're that person. But then it's like I don't understand why wouldn't they price them the same? Because that you're taking
I
money
don't
out
get
of
it.
their pocket in that case. But in the other cases, it's like, well, you're doing that in order to like squeeze more money out of them, but those guys can still trade it in and they can give it to a friend and all that other stuff too, right? So
Yeah.
that
I
doesn't
don't.
necessarily mean you're gonna get the money. Like I don't know the explanation.
I don't get it.
All I know is that I remember saying that episode 12, was my favorite episode because I turned heel halfway through it on Callisto Protocol and said, I guess I'm gonna spoil it. I guess I'll spoil that episode and say I was like, I got to at least wait until the game is marked down $10 for principal only. That's what I said.
Yeah.
And
And I
now
feel the
Dead
same
Space
way.
is the same way, and it's like, well, if I think the next game is probably going to be like that too. What did we say was coming out in January or February? No, Hogwarts is coming out in February, right?
Yeah.
Do we know if the PC version of that is 60?
I don't know.
It might
Well,
be.
let's
So it's like,
find
is
out.
that like across the board? Like, how is it cheaper on PC? It just seems so weird when it's day and date though. Like, I don't understand.
Yeah. I don't get it. I don't get it.
I don't know, but we will talk in circles forever until our face turned blue on it because it was the same question
Because
as
it doesn't make
before.
sense.
It doesn't make sense. I don't feel like I need to boycott anything though, because I know I was a little strict on it before. All I would say is that I would not get to Dead Space until I finished Callisto, simply because Callisto is coming out first, and I wanted to play that a little bit more. And if I was to wait until
Yeah.
it's $10 cheaper, then are you saying yeah for
Ho- Hogwarts
Hogwarts?
Legacy is the same way. It's $69.99 for the PlayStation 5. But it's $59.99 for the PS4, and it's $59.99 on Steam.
I don't understand. I don't know. Because at the same time, like the console player is what pushes
But
your platform forward, and it also feels like you as the platform holder, like you're
yeah,
getting the short end of the stick.
I'm confused though because then the deluxe edition that comes with PS4 and PS5 and all the little extra stuff is still your normal $80 one. But they used to do the $79.99.
Yeah,
But so that didn't increase in price. It's just literally the PS5 version costs more. And if you want both PS4 and PS5, you can get the deluxe. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it.
I don't know. It's weird. I ain't gonna make a big fuss over it because I usually get games at discounts anyway. I mean, like super discounts. So,
Uh huh.
um, but I just say, just for the day one buyer, if you want it to be a day one buyer, it looks a little disrespectful when it comes to a certain platform simply because, like, you want to support the game, but you want to be treated equally in a way, and you don't
Right.
feel like you're being treated equally. You feel like you're being taken advantage of. You know, all the stuff we said earlier about like these random remakes and stuff, it looks like you're being taken advantage of. Like it's almost blatant. You
Yep.
know, everywhere else is not really in your face like that because it's just in the pricing, but it still just looks like you're being taken advantage of just by simply wanting to be a console player. And it's like,
Yep.
well, all you gonna do is just kill your own platforms, and then when the people go on PC, they're not gonna pay for anything that doesn't involve multiplayer. And now you just killed the industry by trying to squeeze an extra dollar out of us right now. You gotta think in the long term. They're not thinking in the long term by trying to get the quick buck. That's how I
Yeah.
look at it, because it's like the
Absolutely.
PC people who are veteran PC people, the ones that open the side of their PC and they're always swapping things out here and there, they
Uh
not
huh.
about to pay for it unless it has multiplayer in it. I don't care what they say.
Yeah.
They
True.
not. They not. That's the controversial part. And it's like, well, you created that situation though in a way.
Yeah,
That's
you're not
how
wrong.
that's how I look at it. I'm not gonna get on it too far. We're almost done technically. So yeah, we'll let that go. I don't know what else to say on that. But the next thing on my list, it looks like we could talk about Cyberpunk for a second.
All right.
So
Uh.
yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Well, I guess CD Projekt Red as a whole.
Yeah.
So CD Projekt Red decided to announce uh what is it? One, two, three, four, five new projects. Okay. So kind of more than that. So we have The Witcher series by like side company, and then Canis Majoris, which is another side company. And then they're also working on a new Witcher trilogy through CD Projekt Red specifically. Then they announced a sequel to Cyberpunk
Okay.
that they're going to be making. So I think all of the planned DLC stuff that they were going to do for 2077 is now just going to be its own game when they go to try again. Because they didn't get to make money off of the DLC because they had to give it all for free as a way to apologize for releasing a broken game. Then they were working on a new game called Hadar, or Hatter. I don't know, Hadar. Um,
Okay.
so they announced all of this that they're working on, and I don't think that's a good idea.
So you think they got too much on their plate in a way?
Yes. Because if we remember when they dropped Witcher 3 and we knew all they were working on was Witcher 3, the game still came out broken.
Yeah.
And then Cyberpunk was a horrible mess of a release. And that was supposed to be all they were working on for years. Now, I know there was a bunch of those issues behind the scenes with having to restart the game, but like trying to keep it a secret and all that other trash. But again, this was the only game on their plate, and it released in a very broken state. Now they're announcing like five games. Are they still working one at a time? Or are they now going to have some people working on Witcher and some people working on Cyberpunk? Because
Mm-hmm.
to be honest, based off of these last two releases, they don't need to be breaking any sort of team up. They don't need to be splitting up at all. They all need to focus hard on the next one because they cannot release another bro. Can you imagine if they release another game and it comes out in the state Cyberpunk did,
Yeah, I think
like
that
people
as a
barely want to forgive
company,
them to begin with.
yeah, they will be in some serious hot water. I do know. I think we reported on it before that they were they had to shrink to almost 25% of like what they used to be,
Uh
or
huh.
at least their company was worth 25% of what it used to be because of Cyberpunk. I believe that was a report we made like 3 4 weeks ago. I forgot how long ago. But
Yeah.
yeah, I do know there was some good and some bad, however you look at it, that was happening with it, because I know they said they were gaining a new studio under CD Projekt Red.
Okay.
That's the quote unquote good. That's probably good. But the
Yeah.
quote unquote bad, let me know if you think this is bad. But they're losing their CEO. The guy who was did that apology video, I think he's officially stepping down. As
Really.
yeah, so I don't know. It might be bad, might be sad. He might have made some friends. Who don't know? He's
I don't
step.
know how much it's gonna affect them. I'll say that.
Yeah, I don't know. So there are still some big changes happening over there.
Oh yeah.
But Cyberpunk is alive and well right now, currently, and I think they announced they had over 20 million sold. I guess,
Uh huh.
um, which is actually down overall because I think they did majority of that like at launch, which was still a crazy amount in the beginning. But
Uh huh.
overall, it struggled a little bit to get the sales, and I remember it went through a crazy markdown in a lot of places. Like you could have literally got that game for like $5 brand new on
Yeah.
like a Black Friday at one point. So I don't know, but it sounds like they have a bright future on paper. We just got to see how it goes overall. I uh
Yeah.
I did buy the game. I didn't play it yet. It was one of those things where I was just like, I was waiting until I heard basically the news now, where it was like, not only is it playable, but all the other aspects is like been released. The DLC at least being announced and everything is like, that's when I wanted to play, but I still have my my backlog and everything. But
Right.
yeah, we'll see. Witcher 4 is probably like their biggest game that they're going to be working on. Cyberpunk Part 2, I guess they're going to work
Uh
on as
huh.
well. Witcher has a bigger name in the long run though. I don't think that they could screw that up. They cannot
Yeah.
afford to screw that up.
They cannot at
They
all.
cannot afford to screw that up. They can't afford to have anything in a bad state at this point. They got to really take their time. I know it's more of an investor kind of thing. Like, I don't think you can't blame developers at all, really. It's really management and investors. But the CEO stepping down, the CEO is pulling the Halo CEO move, I guess. Stepping down. I don't know the details for this one. It's just all I know is he's stepping down.
Yep.
So
All right.
we'll see. I don't know what else to say about it. Are you excited about the future of CD Projekt Red?
Cautiously. I'm cautiously excited. I want them to do well. Like I played a little bit of Cyberpunk when they did the whole like you can play the first hour of the game to test it out.
Uh huh.
And it seems good. And then I've played some of The Witcher. I need to get back into it, but again, backlog. But
Yeah.
that's good as well. I'm about to talk about their side stuff, the TV stuff in a second. It's good games. It's just they need to come out good. Like they need to come out working. It shouldn't require months of like or years, excuse me, of fixing. So
Yeah. But
that's what I have to see.
the
But
show came out right away and they didn't need to fix anything, right?
no, the show is really good, and I think that's what got some people excited for the Phantom Liberty stuff because it was based off of some of the show as well. So I'm not going to spoil anything, but
Sure.
I'll say that for the show, it's good. It's good. I don't know if this is a spoiler, but I will say if you know anything about Cyberpunk, like at all, like just lore and everything like that, it is sad. Like just be ready for that. It is sad.
Okay.
Um, but it's a good. show for those people who are very much, and I always say this, for people who are just like, I don't watch things that are animated, give that up. Like, this thing is good.
Okay.
And there are, to me, there's certain things where it's just, and this is one of them where I feel like trying to do it with like a live action thing is just not gonna look good. It needs the animation behind it, and like the animation is done very well for this show. It's a really solid story. Again, if you know cyberpunk stuff, you know how it goes. But if you don't, it's a nice. It's a good story. I thought it was very well done. Um, I can see why I hyped back up some of the game stuff. So yeah, if you got the time, definitely watch it. I also got to watch the second season. I think they're almost if they're not done with the third season of The Witcher.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
that's also good. I've seen the first season. Uh and it's good. Like it's a good show. Um
I technically started playing The Witcher 2 on
okay.
Xbox, but I kind of just like stopped in the beginning. I'm trying to stop doing that. I have way too many games that I started, and I had a list of them, and that's one of them. And so I'm gonna play two, um, start to finish, and then I'm gonna play three. And then afterwards, I
Okay.
wanted to go back and watch the show. But
Okay.
yeah, that was one of them. I think the only other one I could think of on Xbox that I had started didn't finish was Alan Wake, the game Alan Wake.
Ah,
That was also one of them. And then I just started Eldest Souls, which I thought was pretty cool. And
Elder Elder Scrolls?
Eldest Souls. So it's
Oh,
like
what's
a
that?
PC version of a ripoff of Elden Ring almost. And it's
Oh,
like
okay.
top down kind of thing. It actually got really good scores, and I was in the beginning of it. I only have like 2 hours of footage. I think I will probably feature it here in about 2 weeks, maybe. It's one of the first experimental footage where the gameplay is going and then I'm actually on camera. And so it was
Okay.
like I'm moving closer and closer to that. It's because I'm trying to have like not necessarily streaming, but at least recorded content with me playing stuff and commentary. Like I'm trying to have that content to add on in the
That's what's up.
future. Yeah, that's not the easiest content to produce though sometimes.
Oh, I bet.
Because sometimes it's like live. You know, you could play like there's so many things like going on in the background when you playing something like Fall Guys, for example. When you're
Yep.
off camera and you can't hear you, you know, you're just simply playing the game and it looks like just footage. When you're on camera and then you can see other stuff going on, it's like, what is that in the background? So I'm trying to work on all of that first.
Okay.
So yeah. But yeah, Eldest Souls was like I think it's $20, but then it was marked down to $7.99 on Steam, so I snagged it. It was on one of my lists, and I decided to turn it on right away because there's actually two games that I want to start right away right now in October. That was one, and the other one was actually Mortal Shell, and I want to have it done by Halloween. It's probably going to dip into the first or second week of November, especially
Okay.
since I'm very busy with everything else anyway. But
Yeah.
both games are supposed to be on paper under 10 hours. And they're both
Oh,
Souls games. Mortal Shells, the 3D one. Eldest Souls is more 2D, a little top down. And
okay.
yeah, I'll have the footage here at least in a couple weeks, I'm sure. But
That's what's
yeah,
up. My
yeah.
life is Persona. Like I'm like I think like 90 hours in. Uh Nearing towards the end of that game, but like after Persona 5, um I need to go back and finish Greedfall. I was just kind of I needed a break from it.
Sure.
But then I still got Cyberpunk. Ghost of Tsushima is probably going to be next. Um
Okay.
and then Ratchet and Clank, of course, I want to play. A bunch of other stuff too. But I also, that's the thing. So, and eventually I'll talk about it a little bit later. But Gotham Knights might interrupt that order of things that I'm playing. And then for Switch, I want to go and play Hades because that's what I have it on. I really want to get to that. And then when I get back to PC, I want to get to Witcher, but I kind of also want to play some of these other little like shorter indie, but like, you know, some of the games that were given through Epic. I want to kind of just start like playing through those. So I think I might do that for PC for a while.
Yeah, I'm gonna go through a bunch of those because they're just kind of there, you know. They're
Yeah.
just like literally there. Like just
Yeah.
every week you add another one. Yeah, but let's move on to a bigger topic. I think this is like a full section for you that
All
you
right.
put here. We got a lot of things that's happening with 2K.
So 2K time.
Yeah,
All
go
right.
ahead.
So we'll start with the one, I think the biggest one, and then we'll keep going from there. So the biggest one from 2K is they got hacked recently.
Yikes.
So funny, like they now released it on their Twitter, but I had actually gotten an email, and it was from one of my emails that I don't usually check that much. It's more of my like dump email.
Okay.
And I forgot that in the older days, this is what I signed up when they wanted you to have a 2K account and this account and that account. That was the one that I used for it. But basically, 2K was like, "Hey, we became aware that there was a unauthorized third party, that illegally accessed some stuff. It got pretty much people's emails. That was
Mm.
about it, though. But what they did is they through 2K support account, they made a fake one and sent out an email saying like, "Hey, your game is broken. You got to click this link to fix it." Uh, so if anybody clicked the link, it put in a virus
They
that like
got
tried to
got.
steal. Yeah, it's still like they got. It's still their
Oh
information and
man.
everything. So they were like, what they should do is reset any passwords, for like Chrome autofill, enable multi-factor authentication, install some antivirus protection, and check your accounts if just in case. And they're like, our bad. They released that bad boy kind of quiet, and then released it on Twitter, and it's just like our bad. Uh,
Oh man.
yeah. So if you have a 2K account directly connected to your major stuff, and you may have clicked a link or something like that, you may want to change some
Passwords.
passwords. Yep.
May want to check the bank account too. Maybe I don't know.
Yep.
I
Check
don't
some
know.
stuff. Luckily, I have too many emails with like everything spread out amongst stuff between important and unimportant. So
Yeah.
I'm good. And I do suggest that as well. So I actually took during my college days class that was about internet like security. Um, and yeah, you should have try not to link everything to one email. Like you should
Yeah.
have separate emails. This way, if one gets hacked, you don't need to go through and change everything. Right? So
Yeah. Don't
that's
mix
what
your
I ended up
business with
doing.
pleasure.
Yeah, it's a good way to put it. It's a good way to put it. I know that's usually used for other stuff, but nah, email too. Don't mix business with pleasure. Like
Yeah.
separate those things. Get yourself some other emails. They don't all need to go to the same thing. Um, Matter of fact, you can always have it set too that most things like you have a backup email, so it's like if it's sent to one, it'll automatically get sent to another email as well. So you can easily have it set up to everything photo dumps to a secondary, and that's the main email that you look at. So you get all of it, but everything's going to an individual one. So if something gets hacked, that's the one you need to change. Those are the passwords you need to change. Again, you don't have to worry about tracking down every single thing you've signed up for in life to try and change it. And you should have different passwords for different stuff. Um, yeah. So just watch out for that. So that was 2K's first thing. Ready for the next one?
Yeah. Lay it on me.
2K lost their court case for tattoos. So there was a long time going where
That was so
for
crazy to hear.
wrestling, yo,
Yeah.
I forgot this was still going on, to be honest.
Yeah.
So for wrestling, Randy Orton, top wrestlers, of course, has a bunch of tattoos, and his tattoo artist was like, "You didn't get my permission to use that in the game, and I have that image is copyrighted." Even though it's on someone's body,
I don't even
they're like, "Nope,
understand
I
that at
copyrighted
all.
those tattoos." Yep,
Yeah.
they're like, "It's my artwork, and you didn't pay me for it," even though Randy Orton already paid for it. But it was like, "You didn't pay me for it. You're using my images in the game." It's the same reason why in certain games like Braun Strowman, they took away a Superman tattoo, or CM Punk, they took away the Pepsi tattoo because they're licensed logos
Yeah.
that you can't use. So this lady is trying to say the same thing. Like, just like Pepsi owns that logo, those tattoos on Randy Orton's body, I own those. Like, I made those images. I own those. Uh,
You know
you have
what's
to pay me to
crazy
use
too?
my stuff.
Like he probably hasn't even seen him in years, unless because he hasn't had any new tattoos, as he's been having the same
The
sleeves.
most recent tattoo was about 6 years ago. It depends on how old his daughter is. He got like a little rose tattoo for his daughter.
Yeah, we don't even know if it's
So
from the same person. We don't
nope.
even.
Yeah. So whatever lady this was that did the majority was like, no, you can't use it. So 2K lost this court case.
Wow.
So where this goes, either that means 2K or whatever comes like the NBA or WWE, things like that, will either have to shell out money to all these tattoo artists that complain uh to be able to have the identical look, or they're gonna have to start changing up tattoo images and you're just gonna have to rely on community creations for wrestling.
Yeah,
I don't know what you're gonna do for basketball to get the right images,
they have to like
because
tweak it a little bit. Like, oh, that's not exactly the same. If you really freeze frame it and zoom in, I don't
yep.
know.
So
It
this will
seems so
benefit the
petty.
ones who have like a full inked arm, because you
Yeah.
can kind of change some of that stuff. And I don't think it counts towards the Samoan tribal ones, because those are like, there's a whole different meaning. It's not just some artist doing some stuff. Like, there's a whole tribal meaning behind it. It's considered like, I don't want to talk about that. I don't know, I look into it, but I don't think it's the same thing.
But they've been in
So like Roman
games.
Reigns, for example,
Yeah.
like what I was saying is like Roman Reigns or the Usos, their tattoos are not just like somebody drew those. Like, they're tribal. They mean something.
Yeah.
Versus like, yeah, Randy Orton's images, or CM Punk or Braun Strowman or people like that. Like, there's gonna be I guess an issue now with getting their tattoos in the game.
It just seems so odd. I just because they've had them in there this whole time. So now, because you've seen like I know one thing about the basketball NBA 2K. Like they would always advertise their games with like showing off the sweat. Remember the sweat thing? But
Uh
because they would do that, they have to zoom in on them, and some of those guys, you could see all the details of the tattoos. Like they would like market it that way to be like,
yep.
look at how real it looks, and look at the sweat coming off the arm, and the tattoos and the stuff is there. So I mean,
Now they got to
this
pay
is
the tattoo artist.
it'll change. Like there might be a cultural change for people who are trying to get signed. Like NBA and NFL is like the main ones. When people try to get signed by them, they have to like live a certain lifestyle, do certain things. Really, you might end up seeing like 10, 15 years from now a push for people to not have tattoos, period, when you're in the
Yeah.
industry, simply
Yeah.
because they don't want to spend no money on y'all, I guess. So I don't know.
That's
I
what's
think
gonna happen.
it's weird too, because like sometimes wrestling use that as like, this is the heel turn. They got a tattooed and they got a goatee. It's
Yep.
usually how they go. It's like it's a
Yeah, I
tattoo and a
guess.
goatee.
Well, what might happen now is they might have to do like, WWE is gonna hire their own specific tattoo artists. So if you want tattoos, you got to go through that person,
There's also
right?
interesting too, because I know this. There's this girl streamer on Twitch that I had talked to. I think this was last week. Like she says she wanted to get a tattoo that specifically is meant to only last no more than 2 to 3 years.
Oh, those, they make those. Yep, the temporary
Yeah.
tattoos for varying length.
And she was like, I could never see myself having the same tattoo and blah blah blah. But
So where that's beneficial, there are some people who's like, you get it and then like you don't want it anymore, so it's
yeah,
gone. And you can get something new. I also think that's very useful for, because like, like I
I
like
wanted
tattoos.
one
Like,
like
it's
that at
body
one
art.
point. Like
Um,
back in the days when we used to work together.
yeah,
I used to want a whole sleeve of like tattoos that only last, but for me it was only like a couple months. It was like I want this to last the
yeah.
summer only. Like
Um, but
which
where
I
that's
heard.
also useful too is if you don't know if you really want it and you think something might be a cool idea now,
Yeah.
doesn't mean it's going to be a cool idea later. So having temporary tattoos might be useful in terms, like, you have to shell out money to constantly keep re-upload, like updoing them. but like at
You
least
don't
if
have
your
to end
first
up
one's
like one of
temporary,
yeah, you don't have
go
to end
ahead.
up like these people who get these weird cover ups where they're literally just painting black ink on their
Yes,
body.
yes,
We've
that's what I
seen
was gonna
some of
say.
those even in
If
wrestling.
you if you
Yeah.
know you like if you get it first temporary and then you're like, yeah, this is the one for me. I love this thing and I never want it to go after it's about to fade in
Yeah.
3 years, then you get it permanent. And then anything else stays temporary until either you really decide you want that or you switch it up every once in a while. Like, why not? Style changes. Like, things you like and things that you wear now don't happen. Like, I remember my early, younger, like college days, right? It was like I needed a hat to go with every outfit. I always wore a hat. Now I don't wear hats, right? Like, so, like,
But you know, it'd be
what you
messed up
perceive
though.
as stylish changes. Yeah.
You know, it'd be messed up. Like you really like the tattoo that was temporary, but the permanent one, you look at it and it's like it still don't look as good as the first version because they had to
True.
redo it. They still got to redo it. So it's like I don't know.
True. So I think what you would have to do is when it's starting to fade, get
Yeah,
them to trace over it with the permanent one before
yeah.
it's completely gone. Uh,
I guess. I
Also, with the
just thought
temporary,
about
it'll stop when people try to get a face of somebody and that bad boy looks horrible. Like you know it's
yeah,
gonna go away.
because I've heard of people who was doing the whole like I'm putting the loved one's name on me and then I gotta take it off and I gotta put another loved one name on me. There was people like that.
Yeah.
But I just thought about there is the ones for the people who probably do want the tattoos that last a few weeks only. They do sell them on Amazon. I remember looking them up. They look very realistic, but they really only
Huh.
last a few weeks and they cost like $10 or something for a pack of just some random
So
looking
you mean
tattoos.
you mean the water ones?
Yeah, but they got some that are like really, really, really good. Like not the ones that used to come out them vending machines and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's still a water one, but it's like it looked like on the level of some of the wrestlers kind.
Okay.
Cause like I don't know if you were ever seen those like prank videos on YouTube. It would be a YouTube prank that somebody would do, where it's like I took my kids to get, or I took our kids to
Oh
get
yeah.
a tattoo, and it would be like one spouse didn't tell the mom or the dad, and then the little kid would just have like long sleeves of tattoos, and it was like I looked it up. I was like, where are y'all even getting those? Because I used to want those when I was young. And yeah, they were on Amazon for like $10-15 depending on where you go. So yeah.
Okay.
For anybody who's still in that phase, I grew out of that phase like 10 plus years ago. But yeah. Is that it for 2K? Was there one other
No,
thing for
there's one
2K?
more story about 2K. So the
Yeah.
least one, but still I thought it was funny.
Okay.
So it was described as an NBA 2K23 player got roasted for spending a bunch of money on 2K. So during the my player builds, right? Because
Yeah.
you could either grind to get all of the VC needed, the virtual currency needed to upgrade the characters, or you can just buy the virtual currency. And dude spent, what was it, like $60, $70 on the game, $70 on the game, spent $400 to get one character up to 99 overall and the other one up to 97 overall. But I'm pretty sure he also had to like grind and play for some of that too.
Hmm.
But it cost 70,000 virtual currency just to go from 98 to 99. So it cost a lot. And he spent $400, which is about 6 times the price of the game, just to get two characters to max level. And he's over here saying like 2K is robbing the community. I feel bad for the young kids who can't afford it, and I'm thankful I can. That's what Twitch Reckless
Okay.
787. And
Super
everybody's going in
personal
on this person
comments.
like, homie, you spent 6 times the value of the game just to max out two players. And one of them ain't even maxed. Like, one of them ain't even maxed. Just play the game. Like, what
Yeah.
are you doing out here?
You're doing
Play the
too
game.
much. Yeah.
So, yeah,
I
everybody's
never
calling
want
him
to
out. I see
be
stuff like that.
I
Good.
love having multiple consoles and stuff like in multiple games. I never want to have a game have a strong hold on me like that to the
Right.
point where because it's like it's not like the experience is going to get that much better. It's like it's more in
Oh,
your mind at some point because at some point your character can only be so good and your opponent
yeah.
can only be so bad or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because you're going to be doing it every day. Like how much of a fix is that drug going to be if you're
Yeah.
doing that every day? Because you got to be
So
on a level to do that. Like, you
my
know,
two things is I don't like a game where somebody gets to be better solely because they decided to put more money into it, and I got to face that person, and I don't want to put money into it. I don't like that idea because I've watched some people play the like my player stuff where they're playing against other people, and it'll just be like that person's just making a bunch of threes and always getting the rebound and just doing amazing, and you know it's because they put money. There's not a reward for just playing a lot. Is reward for just putting money into it so they get to just be better. So I hate games like that because then it's just like, well, I want to play. I don't want to play because I'm not going to put money into it.
right,
Uh, and then the other thing is, I always wonder with these people. It's like you spent $400 to get this my player for NBA 2K23 at max level to play it for a year, and then you have to buy 2K24. Your character does not transfer over, and you got to start fresh and do it again. Like that's where I'm
I don't
always
know.
confused because it's like this is only gonna last you for as long as you play 2K23, and then if you want to still play against other people, which are my player, they're all gonna migrate over to the next one. So then you got to migrate over to the next one, but your character don't migrate over to the next one.
Does the character
So,
migrate in baseball though? One of them they did. I don't know
oh
which one
really?
it was.
Uh,
I had to look into it because I do remember somebody saying like he had to go. Someone that I followed, he had to go inside of MLB the show for one thing, save to the cloud and move over. I don't know.
that would be cool. Like,
I
because
don't
I
know.
still wouldn't put extra money in, but it might be kind of cool to like as the games keep going, your character keeps getting stronger. Like in the same way when you trade a Pokemon up, right?
Shout
Like
out
there
to
was
Pokemon.
somebody who showed that it was a really little heartwarming Pokemon video where they started with Red, and then like continued playing like all the Pokemon games,
Yeah,
and their first Pokemon Charmander like got transferred up every single game, so it went from a whole thing for up to Sword and Shield, where they started with this little sprite Charizard in Red, and now Charizard's like fully 3D, the same one, fully 3D, like on the screen and everything, like on the TV screen. So it's just like you got to like the thing went with them, and it just got stronger and stronger each game. So it's like it's a cool way to do that for MLB, and it gets stronger and stronger each game. But 2K ain't doing that.
yeah. Um, I don't know what else to say about 2K.
Oh
2K and
well, I got one more
Madden
thing.
is like one of those things where they kind of just they have their game and they're only updating the players at some point. Like
Yeah, and FIFA.
yeah,
So
FIFA too.
here's my thing about this, and it was the last point. So this one
Sure.
person posted, it's like, look at this. I had to spend $400 just to get these at the best. Like it sucks for the kids. Like luckily I could do this, but it sucks for the kids. That's the reason why 2K and EA and all of them keep doing this stuff. Is because to prove a point, you're still giving them the $400. Where when you see is like, look at this ridiculous amount I had to spend. Don't be like me. All they see is we just made $400 off of this guy. Let's do it again next year.
Yeah,
Like,
obviously.
stop spending the money on it and it'll stop happening. When you don't buy loot boxes, they're not going to put in loot boxes. If you don't buy this, they're like the VC, and then they're not going to put in the VC. They'll like make it harder. Like, look at what happened with Marvel. They made it harder to grind for levels, but then they were like, but you can pay your way for it. And then no one bought it because no one was
Yeah,
playing it. And then they had to undo that and be like,
yeah,
our bad, that was a dumb decision. It's like you can fight them on it by just not giving in. That's it. It's a very simple thing. Just suffer for a couple months and just not pay for it. Don't you be like, I hate this and then pay
yeah. Or
for it.
you
Don't
could
pay
play
for it.
something else real quick, and then they'll see like the player base goes down,
Thank
and
you. And then they'll
that's
have to fix it. But
yeah,
I don't understand some of these people, they don't play anything else.
yeah.
And that's the problem. We have such a backlog. And there's some people who's like,
That
they
might
only
be
play 2K.
that might be what was the continuous heart attack, the week by week heart attack. I keep calling it a heart attack. Maybe I'll say something else because that might be a little insensitive. But Mr. Jim Ryan, that might be why he his
Mr. Panic.
actions, the way that he's been acting over Call of Duty, because he gets to see the numbers that we don't see. Because people
True.
could fanboy all day, but he knows all the deals. He knows what deals he's doing, and so some of these games might be so big that they compromise everything else for it. So I don't know.
I
But
guess so. So maybe that's why he is panicked, because there are people. I know there's people who only play 2K and Call of Duty.
I know
It's like, you
somebody.
know what? At that point, then just switch to Call of Duty until 2K fixes
I know
it.
somebody who bought two PS5s from a scalper to play Madden and Madden, Call of Duty, and 2K. Literally those three. And then I think he just told me recently he
Two?
bought WWE 2K22.
But like, why two?
No,
Why did he buy
Madden.
two?
I mean Madden
No, I'm saying
23.
you said he bought two PS5 from
Oh,
the
I don't
scalper.
even know why he bought two of them. He bought one of them that was he has the disc and digital version. He bought two of them.
Ugh,
And all of the games that he has is multiplayer games that were already on the older
ridiculous.
systems, and he had the older systems.
Ridiculous.
It's just their marketing and their sense of urgency that they created around that product was so strong that people thought it was the hottest product ever. Just for it to be made available for them to say, "Oh yeah, we're gonna also put it on PC. Oh yeah, the hottest games on here are also gonna go on the PS4." And it's just like, well, like you didn't get that far into it before. It was like, oh, it's not actually the hottest product ever. We're just not gonna say it out loud yet. But yeah, so
All right then. Well, speaking of digital, I think this would be a nice transition into this next thing I got to complain about.
excellent.
That's it for 2K. So speaking of digital,
Yes.
stop buying digital stuff because you don't really own it.
Ooh, hot take.
Warner Bros. Made that point. So they decided, because, and this is not really video game related, but of course, anything that happens with TV can lead to it.
Yeah.
So Warner Bros., as you know, has been getting rid of animated stuff, right? Really getting rid of everything. I just realized that they canceled Young Justice, and now we're gonna have to fight to get that back again. But there was this other game, this other show called Final Space. It was like an Adult Swim like cartoon show, and somebody who liked the show bought the seasons on Amazon, like through the digital library. So they own it. They bought the seasons. And because Warner Bros. Decided to cancel that show and have it like removed, Amazon removed it. So now they can't access the thing that they bought. So they contact Amazon and is like, yo, I bought these. Like, it wasn't rental or anything. Like, I bought these on my own. Why can't I watch it? And they were like, sorry for the confusion. You only have access to it, but because of licensing changes, you just don't get access to it anymore. That's it.
That's crazy.
It's just they bought it, and I was removed from their library that they bought because the licensing changed. They don't get a refund.
They don't get a refund because I remember like Google Stadia at least was giving refunds out, so they just lose it.
They just lose. Yeah. Wow. And I feel like you'd sue. Like, if I was that person, I'd sue. I don't care how small it is. I'm suing. I own this.
Yeah.
Like, and you just took it away. Like, I can see if you're like, you can't buy it anymore. They decided to remove that. But I purchased it. I should be able to watch it. Like, they want to sit here and be like, why is everybody going into pirating and things like that? This is why. You're taking it away. Like, you keep trying to hype digital. And this is why I didn't want this lead into like you could buy just the digital consoles. And it's like, no. Because it's just, you keep saying buy digital, but then at any moment you just want to take things away, and then it's like, well, you don't get access to it. Like, and things that I don't understand. So like that Power Rangers game, if you remember that one, the one that was the side scroller that wasn't really good, and it was on PlayStation 3, and they took it away.
Super Legends, right?
Or something like that. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I could still download it. No one new can get it. But if you had already purchased it, you can keep it. But the fact that they could just change their mind at any point and be like, never mind, you just can't get it anymore. Right? Or the same thing like PT, right? You download it. So if it's on your system, you're good. But you can't download it anymore. Now imagine if the people who already downloaded it, when they go to access it, they were just like, sorry, this game is gone. And it just deleted itself. And it's just like, but I own this. And it's like, no, you don't. So it's like, you don't really own anything that's digital, which we've talked about before. But I think Warner Bros. Doing this is the biggest case of you don't own the things you paid for if you get it digitally. So if you really want to keep something, you have to buy physical.
You know, it's funny because I remember. Did I say I had a surprise during this episode? I do have a surprise, but part of the surprise does have a negative part to it,
Okay.
and it's not going to be the main event. I actually want your Gotham Knights take to be the main event of this show, just because that's like right around the corner. But
Yeah.
um, right before the surprise is going to go right into this, but I think speaking of a digital asset that's probably going to get bought, I want to say this real quick because it's a quick laugh. 60 seconds max. Apparently, Elon Musk is going to be buying Twitter again. I don't know what happened with that, but I just thought it was funny and I wanted to mention it because it just sounded so hilarious.
It's just why? Like you just don't. Like you already what do you mean you're gonna
I
try and
don't
buy
know.
it again? Just don't. It
He
didn't
gonna
work out
buy
the
it
first time.
again. I don't know. Maybe it's to avoid getting sued by them or something, and he would have ended up having to pay out the money and wouldn't own it. I don't know if that's the thing. All I know is that he's gonna buy it again, and then that's that. Um, yeah. So we can move
That
on
is
from that.
wild.
But yeah, the digital
That is
thing.
wild.
I don't even
Just
know.
don't. He doesn't need it. Like I don't understand what you're buying it for.
I don't know what he's doing, but yeah, that's
He don't know what he's doing.
maybe that's a digital asset to him. Maybe he realized halfway through, it's like, man, what am I doing? I better get on up out of here.
And he
But
changed his mind?
I don't know. But all right. Well, so to piggyback off of what you just said about Warner, I have a technical surprise. So it's gonna start off good, then it's gonna go bad again. So
All right.
I'm gonna send you the surprise now, and you can tell me what you saw. And so, very last minute, I went and bought this thing. I'm talking yesterday, and it was a last minute decision. And so, for this channel, I wanted to add some more, legacy content. And then
Just
also,
opened.
I also want this as well.
Hey, welcome to the squad, homie.
Okay, so what do you see? Let the people know what you just got. What do you
Homie
see?
got himself a PlayStation 3.
Yes.
And
So
Sonic and Tony Hawk. Project 8. Sonic the Hedgehog.
yeah. So I actually didn't get those games. Those games was in the manual. It came with a manual.
Oh, okay. But yeah, that
However,
shiny looking, beautiful PlayStation 3.
so yes, so this is technically my surprise, but it does goes into what we were talking about that might be a bad thing. So quick story time. Hit the like button. We are in overtime, and I know this footage on camera or on screen only lasts 30 minutes, so I got to make it quick. But I was at work and I saw this thing at a mom and pop place that put up a picture. They put up a picture of this like 2 or 3 days ago, and I ignored it. I looked at it and I was like, I really want that, but now is not the time. So I ignored it. And I didn't know somebody attempted to buy it, but I guess didn't go down there and actually buy it. So
Okay.
they dropped a picture of it and was like, this is back fresh off hold. And I was like, oh shoot, somebody tried to snag it. And I was like, you know what? It's like 30 minutes. No, it's about an hour away from me getting off work. It was like 4:30 p.m. I sent them a message and said, is this still available? And they was like, yes. And in my head I was like, what are you doing? And then I just sent them another message and was like, I can be there by 6. And they was just like, we'll hold it for you for the rest of the day.
Yo.
And I went there by 6. Like I said, it was like 5:59, and I snagged it.
Okay.
This PS3 came with its original stuff. It was in box. It didn't look like it was passed around by 1,000 people. It looked so good, and it didn't have any scuffs on it or anything. For anybody who doesn't know, there's one particular PS3 that plays PS2 content. That's the one that I got. So I
Yeah,
have the
buddy.
PS3 that plays so I have a PS3 and a PS5. So between those two systems I have access to all of PlayStation's library outside
Yeah,
of the Vita. And I turned it on. It runs
I got one
great.
of those.
It's a little loud. I will say it is kind of loud. It runs good though. The game that it comes with was called Motor Storm, and so they
Okay.
included it in there. They included it, and shout out to this mom and pop store. So, um, yeah, they had gave me like a hat. I was like, what is this hat for? And so apparently, because I spent so much, it actually wasn't that expensive. So it was like 270. It's kind of maybe it's steep depending on who you are. It was but it's 270 and it is like the rarest PS3 that plays everything.
Yeah.
So it came with Mortal Storm, so I did get a game with it, and I don't have the Dual Sense or not Dual Sense, Dual Shock 3 controller. It came with the 6-axis controller, which is the controller that didn't have rumble in it. So it really did have all of its original stuff. I still had like all of the cables with it. It does support HDMI, even though it had the red, white, and blue cable. It came with an HDMI too, but I still have better HDMI cables at home. I did go ahead and buy a PS3 to test, or not buy a PS2 game to test to go with it. And so I chose the very first Spider-Man game on PS2 because that was the
Okay.
only one I actually didn't play. And I picked it because it was cheap. I was like, I gotta get a PS2 game to make sure it plays PS2 in case I might need to take it back. So I got it. I tried it. This was literally yesterday as of this recording. So 2 days ago for you guys. And it was literally last minute. They just put it up there. I looked at it. I was like, you know what? I have the money. We're getting paid next week. Give it to me, basically.
So what's up?
Because it was like for anybody who it hasn't been paying attention, like I said at one point, I wanted to assemble what I call the affinity gauntlet of the systems and everything so that I had everything that I needed. Because not only that, we're talking about like the content for the channel as well. I still want to have the ability to stream that or at least play that or show the footage for what's on camera, just like the Kirby game. So
Uh-huh.
now, at least natively, even though emulation is still a thing, and I'll talk about that in a second, I have the ability to still stream all of PlayStation's games if I wanted to, which is still bigger for the channel in the long run, just in case I do some like, retro stuff, basically, right?
Right.
And so I could still do that because I could still play it and hook it through the capture card and everything. And yeah, from PS1, PS2, PS3, and then now PS4 and PS5. So I have all that at my disposal. But one thing I do want to say for the good part, and then there is one bad part. So the good part, at least, I will say emulation is still king for me. However, PlayStation 3's content was the hardest to emulate for a lot of people. And the way I looked at it, it was any retro stuff that I can't emulate, then I'll go back and possibly get that one game. I just wanted to make sure I had all the systems just in case anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um the other big fish out there for me so far is the original white version of the Wii, because that one was backwards compatible with the GameCube, and then a black version of the 360. I'm not going to touch that white one. The black version of the Xbox 360. I do think the only thing that I'm going to skip overall is probably a Wii U. Somebody told me just get a GameCube and then get a Wii U. It was just like, yeah, but the hottest, like all the games are already ported to Switch. Like I don't know what's
Yeah.
left that I don't want.
Star Fox Adventures.
Probably, I don't know. I'll do more research on that, but the
It's
PS
considered one of the worst.
yeah, the PS3 is like the hardest thing to emulate for whatever reason. So it's like, okay, now I have a native solution. I didn't go buy a bunch of PS3 games. I only had the PS3 game it came with, and then I had the original Spider-Man on PS2. So yeah, my plan is whatever doesn't emulate. All right, now I'll go to the mom and pop store for that if it's within reason. Like I ain't paying no 200, 300 for whatever game somebody got. That ain't happening. But yeah, it was cool to see that system. It's like nice and shiny. And it was like really, it didn't look like it was beat up by like so many people through wear and tear. Like whoever had it really took care of it. And I have the original box. So it felt like I had a piece of treasure. So I was really excited about that. So yeah, more content of that is going to come to the channel real soon, probably around Christmas time. I will work with it first. But I will say the bad part about it is around the time PlayStation was releasing its like final updates to the PS3, they were trying to take it offline. You can't just connect to it online anymore. It doesn't stay connected online. It only stays connected online for as long as you have the system on for that one time, and then it automatically cuts back off. It really makes it harder for you to get back on. And so for my recommendation for anybody who's still interested in getting that system, you can still go ahead and get the system, but make sure for every game you get, you buy everything physical, because they kick you out of your profile every single time now. And it's only on the PS3, and they make it harder because they do like a two-factor authentication where you pull it back up, where the second you try to log in on the PS3, they tell you to scan in this code on your phone, right? Or go to the website, and then you have to log into your account from there. And then when you do, you press a button to generate a whole nother password. Like it looks just like the codes you would put in to redeem like a game or something. And then you take that and you put that into the PS3, and then you have access to your PSN account from there, and you have to like let it sync the trophies and stuff, so maybe you can get your PS3 trophies. But the second you like turn it off, turn it back on, you got to go through that full process every single time. It doesn't keep on there. Now it might be something that I don't know yet, because I've tried everything and I've seen videos. It seems to be like a brand new thing, like 2022 thing. So yeah, it's not allowing you to just stay on there. So I would say do not buy anything digital on the PS3. Just buy it physical. You can still play the games. Like I had no problems when I put in the games. So yeah.
Okay.
I do actually still plan on getting a second PS3. I want that one to be a regular PS3, and then I want to like mod that out. Like mod a whole nother one, get a better hard drive and stuff. I don't want to tinker with a backwards compatible one, but I want to get the slim one that I used to have a long time ago. Because I thought that one was still a very nice machine, and I want to take that one, put a regular hard drive in it, you know, put the SSD cards in there and or SD cards and stuff in it, do all that stuff. But yeah, so yeah, that's all I got to say about that. Real quick, let's talk about multiverses and All-Star Battle right before the last piece.
Yeah. So super quick. Multiverses, their new characters coming out, I believe, next week. Gizmo from I'm a blanking. What was that? Gremlins. Okay. Gizmo's coming out. So that should be fun. They're getting that update. So expect an update coming up soon. That game is still going strong, and I can't wait to see who else gets announced.
Okay.
For it. A game that I thought was done, but it's not done. Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl is also getting a new character. They're getting Rocco. Rocco from Rocco's Modern Life.
That's what's up.
Yeah. So you going to go back to it?
I never went to it to begin with. I'm kind of confused because I have to really think about it. I own this on PS Plus? I don't even know. I think I do.
It was a
That's
PS
how
Plus
bad
game,
it is.
yes.
Yeah, I know I claimed it. I'm pretty sure I did because I still had it on like an Amazon wish list. I had certain games on Amazon wish list. That game was like you can go on Amazon right now and get that game for under $20. That's the
Well,
Nickelodeon one. So yeah,
I'll be
it
real.
died.
I'm gonna be
Died.
real. I downloaded it. I did 2 fights, and then turned it back off and uninstalled it. And I was like, all right, I'm done. But that was
Yeah.
also before they introduced the voices. So I tried it before they introduced the voices. I
Yeah.
watched the video when they did put the voices in, and they just kind of say the same catchphrase over and over and over. Uh,
So that's the type of game that has to be seasoned. Like it has to have like full content, and then you go in
yeah,
there and it gives you a reason to stay. So you're not treating it like Halo or something, right? Like you have to.
yeah. You just gotta wait. But yeah, if you want to play Rocco, he's in there now.
All right, all right. Yeah, I want to say just like Dragon Ball The Breakers, I kind of just like forgot about it for a while. I know
Uh huh.
with multiverses though, I do see some streams. I've been watching a lot more Twitch content during the week while I work and stuff, and I'll see people play that on stream. I do not see the Nickelodeon no more. That junk was like 2 weeks and that was it. I don't see that no more. But yeah, yeah. I'm very excited about this PS3, man. I'll tell you more about it off
Oh, I
air.
bet.
We got one more topic. This is going to be the big topic for you because you
Yeah.
got a big game coming out. I just saw. So for Gotham Knights, I remember seeing that they had a collector's edition that got released, and I was like, "Is he gonna get this collector's edition?" Because it was like $300. It came with a statue. It had a lot of other stuff
Uh
going
huh.
on. And then I was like, "Oh crap! This game is coming out like real soon now." And then I
Yeah.
did see some of the people that you mentioned. Like some people got this game early, and it kind of just creeped up on me because I remember it was almost like a meme at one point. How I joked about it, I was like, "Oh, people don't liking this game," and then it just kind of creeped up on me. And now it's ready to be released. I don't know if it still has the same hype. I think the hardcore is still there, but I don't
Yeah.
know about anybody else. But you would be considered hardcore, and so
Yes.
from my understanding, you're still giving this an A-OK to be played day one. Are you gonna show up day one and get this sleep overnight somewhere?
Uh, I don't know if it'll be day one, but unless there's some news on that first day about it being extra trash, it'll probably be week
Now, what's the
um
actual release date? Do you have the release
20
date?
the October 21st, 20th. It comes out the day before Black Adam.
Okay.
Black Adam's the 21st.
So it's
Uh
technically a big win for DC if
yeah,
you
it's a
look at it
DC
that
weekend.
way. Yeah.
Yeah.
But as far as for
Uh
the game to stand on its own legs, how do
Whew.
you think?
All right. So here's where I'm at with it.
All
I
right.
watched Jake Baldino from Game Ranks and
Okay.
uh
Shout out to
somebody
him.
else talk about it. I think it might have been IGN first.
Okay.
Uh and remember we said this before. I just
Yeah.
gotta kind of call them out again. Them
Uh
IGN
oh.
players aren't good.
Uh-oh.
Like
All right.
they're
We got
not
enemies
good.
now. We're not
That's
enemies.
fine. They're not.
No more
They're
sponsors.
like there's a dodge button in the game,
Okay.
and in the footage for IGN, they just get beat up.
Oh, they can't
They're just
dodge.
they can't dodge. And I was like, is there no dodge? Because I kept looking, I'm like, is there no dodge button? And when I looked at some other stuff, now you can dodge. It's more like a Dark Soulsy dodge where you just kind of hit circle or whatever button, and you're gonna like slide, and like you're like the hits don't like connect. It's one of those types.
Okay.
Uh it was like, no, you could go without getting hit. They were just getting hit in the IGN. And
Mm.
at first I was like, maybe they're trying to show what it looks like, but they were getting hit too much, like throughout the whole trailer, that it was like, oh, I don't think this person like is good.
I
I don't
will
think they're
say I
good.
remember somebody from IGN was showing gameplay footage of I think it was Halo Infinite
Yeah.
like 2 weeks
Yep.
before it came out. and it might have been one of the worst showings I had ever seen. And I remember
It
there
was
were
just getting
people
shot.
actually like making videos about it too. And I honestly at that point like came to the conclusion that like somebody over there was frauds. I don't know. Like that was just my thought process, and I was like, I don't want to be disrespectful
So
about it, but that was
I
my
don't want to
thought
say
process. I
I
was
don't want to say fraud, but they weren't aiming in the Halo one. That
that's
was
what I
one
was
of the
saying.
things. They
Because I
weren't.
was just like, this is a shooter though. Because in my
Yeah.
head, I'm like, yo, there's no shortages. That's why I was be saying for like PlayStation, I'm like, there's no shortages of shooters that show up on your own platform. You can't tell me you can't make it. But for this, it's like you can't play it. You can't play a shooter. Like they weren't running,
Nah,
they
they
weren't
weren't.
dodging or ducking. They weren't running, they weren't dunking, and they weren't aiming, and they was not aware of like reloading when they need to reload. Like sometimes the reload thing is one thing, but you didn't aim and you were in a and they were just like kind of standing in certain areas.
Yeah,
And I was
just
just
wide in the
like,
open.
yeah, it was
So
just one of those
that's
things.
how it felt for this. Like this felt like a person who like doesn't really play like button mash combat games at all.
Yeah,
You know, like when you're doing like the hack and slash, like where whenever you go to when you first play turn-based games and what you were saying you wanted it to be instead,
yeah,
it felt like that's the combat for Gotham Knights, and they just weren't doing that, so they're just taking hits.
yeah. But it's
And it
like
was just
you
like,
supposed to be IGN though. Like you
yeah,
supposed to
because
be
that was the whole thing. They were showing off Nightwing and or no Robin and Red Hood tag team gameplay.
okay.
Then Jake showed I think some Batgirl and some Nightwing solo gameplay. So I saw some solo and some tag team, and in the tag team, it was 2-on-1, and whoever the Red Hood player was, just like straight up did a kick and like just missed. Like they're just like mid and just they kicked the air. Like it was just like, they were the ones getting beat up. And it was just like, yeah, you don't know what you're doing. Uh
Did you see any footage of my man's having like he was still like jumping in the air or whatever? Like he was like leap.
that wasn't in there.
That wasn't in there.
Everything they did was on the ground. That wasn't in there. So they
Oh,
conveniently left that out because even in the gameplay, there was a part where you had to get to the roof of a building,
okay.
and they kept cutting between like the Robin specifically playing and then the Red Hood part playing. And what they did, but it wasn't like replaying anything. It was just nice cuts to show like the comparison of the other person being in the background. So there was a part where Robin like did the whole grappling hook to the roof and then took down a person like in stealth. And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden the Red Hood just like jumped his way to the roof. But like you didn't see him jump, you just see him flip over the ledge, but you didn't get to see how he got up there. And
Mm.
then everything else is on the ground. So they conveniently left that
They
out.
just hit it. It's still
Yep.
there probably, but they hit it.
Oh yeah. So my final thoughts on it. When I looked at this, I think my biggest hurdle that I had to stop doing
Yeah.
was comparing the combat to Arkham, which is really hard to do, but it's not technically made by them, right?
Okay.
However, it's just when you see Batman combat done so well, it's hard to like adjust to anybody doing something different. Where it's like just do that. Like just do that. It's already worked. And I had to stop trying to compare it to that and really just take Gotham Knights as its own thing. And in doing so, the storyline seems solid.
Okay.
The graphics look good. The costumes look good. It's very RPG mechanic. So it's, go here, open this treasure chest, get this outfit piece, and you get to look different. And then they have the stuff where it artificially inflates numbers. Right? So it's just
Yeah.
like you beat up an enemy, you pick up something, and now your helmet's stronger. Like it has your RPG stuff in it. And it's its own game. And it's its own game that centers around four of the Batman characters that I really like. So when I take it on its own and really stop comparing it to Arkham, it's a solid looking game. I think the co-op looks a lot of fun. One thing I didn't really like is so you pick a character and it doesn't matter who you are because you can keep switching. Um, but when you pick a character and everything, like they're in the cutscenes, they're in the dialogue. And if you're doing a co-op, which they showed from this, the main person playing was Robin. So
Okay.
the Red Hood person was kind of background. So as the Robin person is talking, it was just Robin on the scene, like talking to Renee Montoya and then all this other stuff. And then when the cutscene's over, Red Hood's just there.
Okay.
So it is designed like single player. However, the secondary player can just jump in when they want. Uh, and you can play the whole game, 2-player. And the idea is if it's something that you've already done before, it'll tell you. Or if you go back to your, like, you still earn costumes because they showed the Red Hood still picking up stuff. So they still earn costumes, still did all this other stuff. And if they go back to their own game, it'll say, like, I remember they already talked about it. It'll say, like, hey, you did this, like, when you played with this other person. You want to just consider it done, or do you want to replay it again? And you consider it good done, and the story will just jump you ahead to where you need to be.
Okay.
So you could do the game fully co-op, which is pretty neat. And all the characters kind of level up together, so it's not like, well, now I have to continue playing as Robin because I didn't play as Batgirl, so she's under leveled. She'll level up too. Um, but yeah, it looks really good. The combat is okay. That's the thing I'm still
Okay.
about. And even though I'm not comparing it to Arkham anymore, it is still kind of button mashy, chaotic, and then you just dodge and hit, dodge and punch. So it pretty much is like you're spamming going to be square and circle, like essentially. The thing I don't like is majority of the enemies outside the boss and the heavy still feel reactionary, like they don't attack. There was a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times where they just stood there, like there was
Sitting
a
there.
part where they were focused on the Robin, and they just ran right past Red Hood to attack Robin, but then they run up to Robin and then just stop moving. And
Yeah.
like then Robin was able to attack and Red Hood was able to attack. So it feels like they're not trying to attack. It's like they're waiting their turn to get hit. That's the part that's throwing me off. So it feels like the graphics are good, the story is great, and the combat is meh. And I'm still wondering, is meh going to be enough with a really great story and a really great look to carry the game to be solid enough? And
Yeah.
as of now, I feel like it is, but also I have a bias towards DC. And that's why I need to hear first. If everybody's like, this gameplay is god awful boring,
Now,
then I know just watch it.
when you do get it, you're gonna play it right away, or is this just something you're gonna sit down for a second, and just like you open it
Uh,
up eventually?
I'll play it either right away or when I'm officially done with Persona.
Okay. On my end, I
Uh,
don't think anybody knows this, but I'll reveal this right now. I played Arkham Night, not Night, Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, but I didn't get to Night yet. And so I
yep.
would
Are you
actually
gonna play
play.
Origins?
I will probably play Origins. You know what's funny? I might actually play it on PS3. Do you have that?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll borrow it from you. I don't know.
Yeah.
I will probably borrow Infamous 1 and 2 from you first.
I have those too.
Yeah,
I
we'll
have
talk about
those
that
too.
stuff off air. But the only thing I want to know is, are we going to get a first impressions from you and a review from you, let's say by Thanksgiving? Do we know? You think that might
By
happen?
Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
Yeah. If after the game comes out, they're not saying like, yo, this game is like horrible, like how like Marvel was. Uh if it's saying that, then I'm just not gonna get it. Like I'll
Oh,
hold off
okay.
and not get it. But if they're like, okay, the combat's the story's good. Like if I could get like a mediocre for the combat at
Yeah.
least, um I like and of course like the story looks good, but if they're like, yo, that was a lie, this thing is bad, then no. But if it's
Yeah.
like mediocre and if the game is good, then yeah, I could say by Thanksgiving you'll have
Because I
you'll
was
have a review from
assuming
me.
I would get an impressions from you by Halloween, and then probably a real review by Thanksgiving. I know how certain people they'll put a review out like the same day or something. It's like, no.
Oh yeah, that probably won't happen. But like, yeah, I think it's fair to say. I mean, during the impressions time, if I was like, yo, every resource says that this game is bad, so I
Mm-hmm.
watch some gameplay and yeah, this thing is bad. You'll have that for sure by Halloween, guaranteed.
Okay. Okay.
You'll have an impression by Halloween, and then you'll have like a full. Here's my full thoughts on the game. I'll like either maybe beat or maybe get like a bunch of the way through if I do get it by Thanksgiving for sure.
So I still plan on playing this myself. I just have to go
Yeah.
through Arkham Knight first. I do have
No.
it on disc. I just
All
didn't
right.
get around to it. Arkham City, in my opinion, was still great. My co-host
Yeah.
thought that I shouldn't have called it a hidden gem. I kind of agree. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have called it a hidden gem.
It was not a
I
hidden
was just trying to like make one of those kind of videos, and I went with what I had, like at the time.
gem.
But
This hidden
yeah.
gem, that one game of the year. Is in the Guinness Book of World Records.
Listen, I'm a new YouTuber, okay? I'm trying. I'm trying YouTube. I'm trying. I've spent so much money that I probably shouldn't have spent so far to try to make this better. Shout out to the PS3. I think that's all we have today. Is there any last words before we go?
Fingers crossed that Gotham Knights is good. Oh, and stop buying digital. If I get it, it's going to be a physical copy.
Yeah, everything I do on PS3, PS2, PS1, I'm not going anywhere towards the digital side unless if I do, I'll be fair, I'll be real. It'll be on the PS4, PS5 platform kinda, for anything that's been ported over, but anything directly on that system is going to be all disc all day. I'm not fooling with that crap I had to deal with all that. I had to log in. I got it yesterday. I had to re-log in at least 8 times.
Oof.
It was only like 4 hours that I got to like mess around with it. Actually, no, it was like 2 hours, 3 hours. I have not had this a full 24 hours yet. So yeah, and it was only a test. I didn't buy no game that I wanted. I did look around, but I was like, no, I'm already overspent because I was not supposed to spend this type of money yet. So yeah, buy physical whenever you can, unless they giving it to you for free. Shout out to Epic. I can't complain with that. I can't complain. Don't forget about for you Nintendo Switch people, do not forget about Guardian Tales. That's not under Epic. That's going to be under Switch. I think that is multi-plat overall because it's a free to play, but
Okay.
yeah, so yeah, that's that. I don't have anything else to say, so I'm going to say what I normally say. This is the end. Hit the like button, share, subscribe. Thank you so much for tuning in with us. This tiny, tiny channel on the corner of the internet. Yeah, that's all I got to say. Don't forget to wash the back of your ears, people. The holiday season is coming up. You're going to be going out in public. Some of you gamers out there, don't forget to wash the back of your ears. And we are out. Peace.